This is the 2026 Boston Live Watch-Along Show. My name is Michael Doyle, and I am joined, as always, by my partners in crime, my colleagues Alex Cyr, Katelyn, Tocci. We're live just feet away from Boylston Street. We are doing our live watch-along show at the Trident Booksellers and Cafe in front of a live studio audience. And we are about 45 minutes from the elite races beginning. The very first event goes off. The men start at 9:37 a.m. We will be here with you all the way through the elite races, all the way through to about, we'll talk for about 3 hours after the first gun goes. Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
Katelyn, how's your plan of catching the Red Sox game going here?
Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to miss it.
Sox play early today. The game's at 11, so
o'clock.
it's not in your favor.
And we already saw people on the tee on our way in Sox gear at 7:30 in the morning on the train ready to come in because there's some sort of special giveaway. We spoke to someone on the train and they get a special Red Sox Boston Strong jacket for the first bunch of people that get to the stadium today. Yeah.
So if you're not coming here, you're in Boston, you can also head to the Sox game. But come here, we got stuff for you too. We have some coffee mugs.
So, one of the many amazing traditions here in Boston that the Red Sox, they start early so that traditionally they would let the game out early as the marathon passed by. This year's race, 130th running of the Boston Marathon. We will cover the men's race, the women's race. We're going to talk about our experience in Boston. We've been here since Thursday. We should say off the top, if you are looking for the live stream of the race, the professional race itself, it is available on ESPN2 online in the US and other parts of the world as well. Also locally, it's showing on the local ABC affiliate here in Boston, and also streaming for free as well. So we're a second stream experience. If you are interested in taking in a running nerd perspective of the Boston Marathon, we're here for you. We got you covered. Or if you're unable to watch the live stream for whatever reason, we're going to give you some updates, let you know what's going on. We're also going to give you an inside look into what it's like to be in Boston for marathon weekend. We've got all sorts of different angles to talk about. We will talk about the Nike controversy that sort of seemed to be like weirdly became the top story here this week. We'll talk about the pop-up scene. All the different brands have all their different products here. We'll break that down. And we'll just talk about the general tenor, the vibe. We'll do a little vibe check of the 130th running of the Boston Marathon just before the gun goes for the start. So we're just about 40 minutes away from the men's start of the race. And we will definitely break that down for you in detail. We've got all kinds of fun stuff planned. Got a whole I was up very late at night, but very early in the morning, finishing off our graphics package with our team, with Dylan and Koske, who are on the decks today. So we've got some special stuff planned for you today. Good.
I slept great.
You slept great. Well, you know what? You're still recovering, right? So we should say, Alex, you got to run in your very first elite international world-class race. You ran the BAA 5K on Saturday morning. We got some time to vamp. How'd it go?
It went well. It was one of the coolest race experiences of my life. I came in with a very specific goal. I don't know if I achieved my goal, but either way, the day was insane.
Either way, we're very proud of you, Alex.
I've told this story like 25 times this weekend to different people. I couldn't believe how many people were invested in the story, and I actually think it's got the most crazy ending. Like, even in the comments, how was Alex's race? Okay, someone gives me a 13xx time. Thank you, Pam Born 1. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
So what do we go into the 5K?
Yeah, let's break it down really quickly
All
here.
right.
We got some time to kill. So the BAA, the Boston Athletic Association that hosts the Boston Marathon, the organizers of the Boston Marathon, they've had this 5K event that takes place on the Saturday for a number of years now, and they always roll out a super world-class elite field, some of the top 5K, 5,000 meter track runners in the world, Olympians come out. And this year they also decided to add a scrub named Alex Cyr.
At the last minute, I didn't have the time standard and I was late to apply, but they were gracious enough to let me in. So yeah, it's like a field of roughly 25 men, 25 women. And the week before the race, I sent an email to the BAA. I said, listen, I'm already going to be here. I would love to take part. I was missing the time standard by 5 seconds, so not that much. So I thought, you know, it's not that much of a stretch. They let me in. And so Saturday morning, Koske, our videographer, and I go into the city. We take the T, and we get to the starting tent, and I put on my warm-up shoes, and I run 15 nervous minutes, come back to the tent, 15 minutes to go before the race, and I go to find my racing shoes, which were a nice pair of Puma Fast Star Nitro Elite 3s that I just got the day before, and my bag is gone. No bag, no shoes, doing everything I can to not outwardly freak out. So I find a volunteer, and I look at him, and I say, my shoes are gone. My bag was here. It's no longer here. Do you know what happened? And he just matches my energy and looks at me and says, there's nothing I can do for you right now.
You're on your own.
And I say, okay, well, who can?
You're screwed.
And then I'm looking around. There's like all the other athletes. The tent is small. It's crowded. And everyone's like, oh my God, I'm so happy that I am not that guy. Yeah. And he points to another volunteer and says, ask him. So I go to the next volunteer. I say, my bag is gone. My racing shoes were in it. What do I do? The volunteer says nothing. Well, this is great. I'm wearing a pair of A6 Super Blast 3s.
Great shoe.
How different would the race have been? I want you to answer that later.
Well, the thing is, like, I already knew that I was one of the slowest guys in the field. I'm ranked fourth last. And then what would happen if I go and face these actual professional athletes, some of them Olympians, without even a pair of super shoes on? And so at this point, like, I hate to say it, but I was like, I don't think I'm going to race. If I don't have my racing shoes, I don't think I'm going to hop in the race. Like, this was crossing my mind. I'm just going to pack up and go home.
What a coward.
You would have raced. There's no way.
I don't know. I mean, I was going back and forth. And so anyway, you know how, like, when you're panicked, like a whole scenario flashes in your mind? I just think I'm not doing it. And at that moment, when I'm just like spiraling downwards, videographer Koske walks in, runs in with my bag. He had spotted a volunteer who had taken the bag by mistake. I guess the volunteer thought that my bag belonged to a para-athlete because it was next to the bags of many para-athletes that they were going before. Honest mistake, but without it, I think my race was shot. So here I am. I have a bag. My racing shoes are back. So, okay, so throw them on, run to the start line, and just join this crowd of runners who are mostly faster than I am. And so I tuck myself at the back, and then I wait a couple minutes. I turn on my Oakley Meta glasses, which is like total douchebag move, to be honest. So
Although the footage was super cool.
The footage
that's
was
true.
cool. Yeah. It was like, I wonder if anyone's ever run faster while documenting their race. I put it on.
You have an unusual world record.
I might apply. We'll see. Although my appeals and applications have not been going well as of late. So more on that. So the race starts. Luckily, the pro field goes out slowly for them. They run the first mile in 4:29, which for someone like me who's trying to break 14 is perfect. No surge comes for the first 2 kilometers. So I actually enjoy these 5.5, 6 minutes of dream state, maybe. Like, I see people that I've watched on YouTube and Flow Track and at the Olympics, and I'm keeping pace with them. And I know I'm working harder than they are, but I feel like I'm working at the appropriate level.
Right.
And they are sandbagging it, which to me is still cool because I'm there. And we hit 2 kilometers and I'm well on pace. And then the surge comes. They split the second mile in 4:13, and the pace change is like this. So I just let them go, because then it's kind of like a come to reality moment. It was like, I know I don't have that type of speed in me right now. So keep going. Form a little chase pack with the other guys and just try to hold pace. Someone told me in a 5K, the most common kilometer where you fall off pace is between 3 and 4, because that's when you let off because you want to save a bit for the end. And the way to run a good 5 is to keep pressing it on between 3 and 4. So that goes through my mind. There's a bit of a wind. My hat falls off my head. And at this point, it's just go, go, go. And I turn left onto Boylston, and I see 12:40. And I don't know how far I have left to run, because Boylston's super long. Right? If you've never run on Boylston, it's kind of an illusion. You see the finish line, and the time clock is so big, but you don't know if it'll take you like 30 seconds or 2 minutes to get there. And for me, that's crucial. So anyway, I just get on my horse, sprint, and And I get to the finish, cross, I see 13:58.
That's what we saw, Alex.
I see 13:58, then I see Michael, then I see Katelyn, then I see the team, and we have this whole moment. We take a picture together. Godfather Amby's on the sidelines.
Yeah, Amby
Alex,
Burfoot,
I think you did it.
Comes out of the woodwork. It's this magical moment.
Right.
And then you refresh the app.
I kept telling people, like, I don't want to celebrate too much till I see the official result because I know it's going to be close. But I get back to the tent, and fellow Canadian and pro runner Thomas Fafard is looking at the results. And I say, look, what's my result? And then he just looks at the app and goes, no. No. He's French Canadian.
Yeah, he's like,
I was like, what? And he's like, 14.
14.
And then I'm like, no, you're playing me. This isn't real. And I looked at it, 14 flat. So
Oh my gosh.
appealed the time with the BAA because why not? He said, I know this is ridiculous, but for the sake of it, I need to know. I thought I had seen something. I thought the start time and the finish time were 13:59 apart in the results. What's going on? They told me something that I learned something. There's a rule in road running or any race that's not on a track that's if your time is at a decimal place, and it always is, it'll get rounded up to the next second.
That's not fair.
No.
Doesn't seem fair.
So even if you're 13:59.01, you will get rounded up to 14. To which that made me realize, so that means I ran 13:59 point something, which rounds up to 14. And so therefore,
You
I
ran
did
some
it,
14.
but I also didn't do it.
You're living in between two dimensions right now.
I'm in
Right.
Schrodinger's box of 5K runners.
Well, we documented it all. We previously had made a 3-part series on your quest to break 14 called Breaking 14, which you can watch on our YouTube channel. We're gonna put together a special. We're gonna indulge your ego. We're gonna put together a special epilogue of this this final run. We should say that whole series was sponsored by Wahoo, who have created, I would say, the best treadmill that's ever been made. The thing's a total beast. It can run a 4-minute mile. They're also our partner in this live watch-along show, so we want to thank them. We'll be giving them some shout-outs throughout. There's quite a few athletes in the elite field that work with Wahoo and have been training on the Kicker Run, so we'll highlight a few of them, including Roy Linkletter, who is running in the elite field today. You guys vamp for a second because I have to help with a technical issue.
Yeah.
The very first start, the wheelchair men's start, is about to go
2
in
minutes
2
away.
minutes time.
Okay.
So we've got the rolling men's wheelchair, women's wheelchair, hand cycles, and then we get into the professional men and women, 9:37 and 9:47 for the professional men first and then women. So you guys
I've actually got something here. I love to see the comments as we're going through, and sometimes we're not able to read them all. But let's talk about this one, which we spoke about at mile 0. It says, among the world marathon majors, thank you, Still in Rock, where does Boston rank in terms of strategy versus raw fitness? Right, for thinking about a new power ranking. And we talked about this a lot. We've been talking about this in the last few days. Because when we were going through it, we said, you can be an extremely fit athlete.
Yeah.
You can be one of the most experienced marathoners out there. But when you come to Boston and you have to run Boston, it's such a tactical marathon, right? Because not only do you need to deal with the uphills, you need to deal with the Newton Hills, Heartbreak Hill, you need to deal with the downhill, and you need to deal with some pretty crazy weather. We've had years where it's in the 80s.
Yep.
We've had years like today where it's in the 30s. It's going to be in the 40s. We've had winds. We've had rains. And so I think my personal opinion is that maybe fitness isn't always 100% king. If you are a very smart, tactical runner and there's a fitter runner who isn't running Boston the way you need to run Boston.
Yeah.
I think a very smart tactical runner can have a very good day, and perhaps a more experienced runner who didn't plan for all of these little Boston special things could have a harder time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm starting to think that fitness might even act as a foil sometimes, or as
Right.
an issue. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you want to run well, you need to be fit. But when I hear of people telling me that they ran really well at Boston, they're rarely Boston rookies.
Right.
So yesterday during our shakeout run, one of my friends from back home, so shout out to Dan McGuire, he's racing today, and he was talking strategy. And his goal is to run somewhere in the 2:30s. And he was negotiating with himself and his coach about the pacing strategy, and was a little bit wary of not going out too hard because he knows that he's fit and he knows that he's capable of something better than he ever has done. But the question is, to which extent? Like, are you going to go out in your first 5-10K on a minute to 2 minute faster pace than what you've ever run? And how far does that go before it starts biting you in the butt? So he was like, the nerves almost came from a place where he was maybe a bit too fit to know what he was able to do.
It's really tricky. It's really tricky. And, we talked to CJ at our Mile Zero event, and we talked to the elites at the press conference, and no one had a specific plan. They all said, we've got to wait till we get out there because this is a very tactical race. Oh, the men's wheelchair division just took off.
Just taking off, yeah.
Just taking off right now.
So, no, it is wild. Like, you can tell that the vibe is so different at the press conference. Like,
Yeah.
when we've been to especially the Chicago Marathon, right? Because the Chicago Marathon is the opposite. That's
Right.
where people go to time trial.
Right.
So we go to the Chicago Marathon, we talk to athetes, and they'll throw down paces.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they'll say, I'm going for the American record. I'm trying to hold on to 2:05. I'm trying to break 2:20. And there's a very concrete strategy to all of it. And you're right. In Boston, it's to borrow one of Michael's favorite words, Byzantine. It's a very Byzantine race. No one talks in pure confidence
Right.
about what they want to do. It's like, we'll see. And it's like, well, you're a pro. Like, shouldn't you know?
Have an idea about the time. When we spoke to Sharon Lochetti, we asked her, is your plan to break your Boston course record? And she said, I don't know. I have to wait until I get out there. I don't know what everyone else is going to run on this day. I don't know what I'm going to run on this day. And so to respond to your question, I really do feel like Boston is one of those races where maybe experience can even trump fitness every once in a while.
So we're also the commenters. I'm reading the comments. Thank you for your support and for your vouching for my appeal to the BAA. I did appeal and they rejected it. So it's 13:59 to 14. And it is what it is. So send your questions if you want. We're getting pretty close to the men's and women's start times. Katelyn,
And someone wants a mug. Aren't these really great mugs?
How can
For
we
those
get
of
those
you
mugs?
taking a look, we're going to have to figure out how you can get these mugs. If you come here to Trident Booksellers, we have them as gifts.
yeah, we have people sitting here, and there's
Yeah.
still some mugs there. So please, by all means, feel free. Help
Come by.
yourselves. Zakaria, if you want a mug right now, you got to come to Trident Booksellers. I got to tell you, because I think we're going to run out of mugs soon.
They're asking if the BAA responded to your appeal
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, I
And
just let them know that
did.
they-
Yes,
They
absolutely.
didn't appeal, so
You're getting a lot of support here, Alex, and
That's-
it's true. The picture does not lie.
it's funny. So
Well, what we can chat about for a little bit is this is the first day we've seen the sun
Yeah.
since we've got here.
yeah. I think that we've been here since
Thursday. Yeah.
Thank you. And I don't think there was one good running day. Like, Thursday was weirdly hot. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday were cold, windy, and rainy. I think a lot of people got psyched out yesterday.
Right.
'cause
Yeah.
We had our shakeout run at 10 a.m. And as usual on the Sunday morning, the finish line is packed with nervous runners. Here's what it is. On Sunday morning, nervous runners are around the finish line to do their shakeouts. On Sunday afternoon, ambitious influencers are there to take a picture. So two super different vibes.
Yep.
We were there in the morning. To me, it's a lot more fun. We saw a bunch of runners super nervous. Like,
Yeah.
we had 6 or 7 degrees, wind,
Rain.
I thought it was going to rain. At one point, the forecast called for more rain and wind today than we're seeing. I actually think, and I mean, you're the Boston runner out of both of us. Could we call this a perfect weather day or not quite?
I think if you bundle up for the logistics before the race. If you are really well bundled up for the bus ride and for Athletes Village, and you've got, I would definitely have gloves on today for sure. Things that maybe I could peel off as I continue on the route. But I think a lot of runners are going to be really happy with today, because over the past few days we've been out, we were interviewing people, we were in the pouring rain, and it's that cold, freezing rain, right? So it's a really uncomfortable rain. And actually, shout out to everyone who came to our shakeout run yesterday, because we were thinking, oh man, people aren't going to want to come out in this rain and cold and hang out with us, and you did. So thank you so much, because we had a really great time. But yes, I was worried, and the sun finally peeked out today. It looks like a beautiful day. We're also seeing that there's going to be some wind, and Michael called it a cross tailwind.
Cross tailwind.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will be helpful.
In general, that's good, I think, for time. So when we talk about Boston, we think of it as a slow course. Everyone says it's a slow course. The thing is, it can be fast. It's point to point, basically. So you can get a tailwind. That's why it's not record eligible, right? Every now and then you have you have many athletes run crazy times in Boston. And you're like, I thought this was supposed to be a slow course. But when you have a tailwind, this is where you can run the fastest. Like Connor Mans last year dropped
He PR'd here, right?
He PR'd here.
At the time, and then it was Chicago.
Well, then
right?
he ran faster in Chicago.
Right.
I think he just got fitter throughout the year as well.
Right.
But last year also was kind of the same. Most of the elite athletes who've done Boston have their best marathon time, bar none, which technically doesn't count, but who's counting, at Boston last year.
Yeah. No, I think again, if you really know how to run this race, you can be really smart about it and get a fantastic time. The problem is coming into Boston and making all the rookie mistakes that we've spoken about so much, like pounding the first downhill and destroying your quads, and then thinking that you're going to be able to get to the Newton Hills and go with that same energy and that same strength, but your legs are already wrecked. And then you want to take advantage of that last downhill, because after you get over the Newton Hills, you have a fantastic downhill, a slight downhill to kind of, to get into Boston. But if your legs are shot, it's impossible to take advantage of that downhill. So I think it is a great race that you could get a fantastic time, but you really have to know how to run the race.
Now, we're going to be looking at the stream super closely. I want to know what's one thing that you're hoping to see in the race. I'll give you mine.
Okay.
So I've been going back and forth about this, trying to find out what the real story is. But this weekend, I thought that we were going to see the new revolutionary super shoe, the Adidas Adios Pro Evo 3. This is a shoe that's half the weight of an Alpha Fly minus a few points of ounces. It's going to be a shoe that changes the game. I'm convinced of it. And at the expo, there was one of those shoes bolted on a mount inside of glass.
You don't mean one pair of those shoes.
Sorry.
You
There's
mean
one
a
shoe.
single shoe.
A right-footed shoe. And so we asked the folks at Adidas, what's the deal with it? And they say, you can't use it in competition just yet. But I found a little this weekend has been a weekend of little technicalities and wrinkles for me. I found a wrinkle here that suggests to me, I'm going to read it to you because I don't want to paraphrase it, that suggests to me that athletes may actually have the Pro Evo 3. So
okay.
Oh,
I love you're filled with conspiracy theories this weekend.
I'm really embracing, because I did a whole interview with Fiona O'Keefe. I liked when we go to these when we go to these elite athlete availabilities, we like to try to make it funny, and we like to get the athletes going a little. So Fiona O'Keefe is not only one of the top American marathoners, she's also an educated earth scientist with degrees in earth systems. So I went to her and asked her to convince me that the earth wasn't flat, just to see what she would say. This is not something I believe anyway. And she was just like, what? And anyway, I feel bad since then, because she's pulled out of the race, and she was probably already dealing with a hamstring issue. And the last thing that she wanted to put up with was this dummy journalist coming in and asking her about the earth being flat.
Fair enough.
But we've been leaning into our conspiracy selves. But here's the thing about the shoe. Let's get back to serious stuff. This shoe with the development name, so the Pro Evo 3, has been approved for competition until August 13th. So we are in this window.
Okay.
Under model number, whatever. The catch, it's not approved for World Athletics Series events or the Olympic Games, a restriction commonly applied to prototype or transitional footwear. The thing is, the Boston Marathon is a World Athletics Platinum label, but not a World Athletics Series event.
Right.
Basically meaning the shoe is legal here.
So we might see it?
I think that means we might.
Oh, you think they might pull a Nike and like have the shoe on people's feet without being honest about it?
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Why wouldn't they? I just am curious as to why they weren't a bit more vocal about it at the press conferences, at the expo.
Yeah, it's been a weird rollout for this third iteration of the Pro Evo series.
Yeah.
They kind of launched it in Tokyo, but not really. And then they had, like you said, a single shoe bolted to a display case at the expo for everyone to kind of stare at through a glass box. But they've not really had a formal announcement. I think our understanding is we got a little like inside info from a Nike contact that we have that we chatted with at the expo, who told us that it's going to properly debut in London in 6 days, and it will no doubt be on the feet of Sebastian Sawe, that their top marathoner and arguably the best marathon runner running right now. Yeah, currently running right now. All respect to the Kipper, but
I got caught in the comments. Did you talk about the raffle?
no.
Okay. Also, if you're at home and you want a pair of Pro Evo 3s, apparently you'll have the opportunity to buy it. So it's going to be a lottery system whenever the shoe comes out.
That's right. Yeah.
So which sounds a little bit silly at first, but I think it's good. Usually Adidas will launch 500 pairs, and if your Wi-Fi is the fastest, you can buy a pair, and then that's the end of that. But this time, I think they're democratizing it a little bit, so you can put your name on a list, and if you get selected, then you can choose whether or not you want to spend $500 on a pair of Pro Evo 3s.
I feel that if it's a raffles are usually for prizes.
Right.
It's a raffle for permission.
Let's call it a draft.
Okay.
It's a
purchase
you win
shoes.
You win the opportunity to give Adidas $500
Right.
dollars plus whatever a tax is applicable.
But
in your
also,
zone.
I'm totally applying.
Oh
Of
yeah,
course you
and if
are.
I win,
I wouldn't expect anything
Yeah.
less. Guys, we have a lot of desire to see Harry Styles in Boston.
Okay, so there
Not
is.
the first comment there.
I will say this: when we were preparing our coverage plan with our colleagues, I flagged for our news editor Jesse, who's in the media center right now. We're going to get some updates and whatnot from her. I flagged with her to scrutinize the results between about 2:40 and 2:55 to 3 hours, and look for unusual names
There
in
you
the
go.
results.
Nice.
Nice.
Look for pseudonyms.
You're pretty ambitious for his time. You don't think there's any chance that he blows up a little and runs like a 3:05?
There is, but
It's
you
a
know
possibility.
that's then we'll get to that story later. Then, but I have confidence in Mr. Styles. His training has been excellent. He's been making these big jumps. Although Boston's a different animal altogether. Let's get it. We've got about 18 minutes.
Okay.
Less than 18 minutes to the start of the men's race. So why don't we take a moment to break down the elite fields? Let's talk about the top men first, because they're going to start first, and then 10 minutes later the women are starting. So let's break down the men's elite field first. I think the prohibitive favorite, let's call them co-favorites going into this.
Yeah.
The two top dogs, the returning champion John Career of Kenya, and also Benson Kipruto, former champion also of Kenya. They're the two athletes with a 2 hour, 2 minute personal best coming into this race. Although I would say that John Career his time is newer, is fresher, because he ran it in Valencia in December.
Yeah. Career somewhat overwrote a difficult fall where we saw him drop out of one of the majors and then came back to Valencia and proved his fitness again. He's the defending champ. He's also the guy with the most recent good result in Boston. Benson Kipruto, man. I don't know what it is about him. I feel like we never give him the credit that he deserves.
I always give him the credit he deserves.
You just really like him as a person. Katelyn and Benson have been tight since the New York press conference. Like what?
And actually, in the New York press conference, we had a wonderful conversation off the record, and he told me.
And now I'm going to tell you what it is.
And now I'm going to tell you what it is.
Are you able to tell us what it is?
And now I can tell you what it is.
You're
It's like-
so good with a secret.
Yeah.
You wouldn't tell us what
No,
he told you.
I would not, because he looked at me and he said, "Can I tell you a secret? But you really can't tell anyone." And I was like, "Of course."
Caitlin, there's 1,000
course,
people
Benson.
watching.
Okay, there are well, but now I can say it. The secret was, and you guys still don't know, the secret was, I'm gonna run Boston.
Okay.
So I was the first person, maybe his coach knew, but I was the first person to
Maybe
know
his-
that
maybe
Benson
his wife
Kipruto was,
knew,
maybe his wife knew, fine.
Maybe not, though.
And he told me that he was coming to Boston because we were having a great conversation. I told him I was from Boston, and that's how it evolved. And he said, "Don't tell anyone. I'm going to go to Boston."
So after the press conference, we're like, anyone discover any stories? Caitlin, any stories to break? You're
Nope.
like, no.
No, don't
No,
know
it
anything.
was worse than that. After the press conference in New York, you were like, Benson Kipruto told me a secret that
Yeah.
is super exciting,
Yeah.
and I can't tell anyone. And we're like, okay, cool. So tell us, what did you say? And you're like,
No.
no, I can't tell anyone.
I can't break that kind of trust. So anyway, yes, apart from the fact that he is a multiple world marathon major champion and has one of the fastest seed times, or the fastest seed time for the race today, he is also an incredible person.
He is, when we've talked about this in the past on the podcast, when you talk about Mount Rushmore of men's marathoning,
Yeah.
obviously Eliud Kipchoge is right there in the center.
In the middle.
He's like inarguably the greatest marathon runner of all time. And you could make an outside argument for Benson Kipruto as the fourth guy. Who's the fourth guy in Mount Rushmore? Like Teddy, he's the Teddy Roosevelt of men's marathon runners, because he's won Chicago, he's won Tokyo, he's won New York, he's won Boston. It's kind of surprising that he didn't run London this
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
because
He wants all six. Something else he told me.
if you were to win all six of the, let's call them classic world marathon majors, the classic world marathon majors, I guess you call them. It's like, I feel bad for him and Kipchoge, because we're going to soon add Cape Town and then probably Shanghai after that.
Right.
And then who knows what comes for world marathon majors in the next 5 or 10 years. But let's talk about the long-standing world marathon majors. If you were to win all of the long-standing majors, that puts him in the conversation just competitively. But let's talk about John Career, the defending champion, for a second here.
Yeah. John Career is he's trying to fulfill some family legacy, right? He's one of two brothers. Wesley Career, his brother, won Boston 14 years ago.
2012 Boston Marathon. I was here. It was extremely hot.
Oh,
It was hot Boston, and it was brutal. And he won this race of attrition.
wow.
That's Wesley. John, his much younger brother, is coming into this race. He had an up and down year last year, right? Like highs and lows.
Even just inside the confines of his Boston race, he fell off the start. At one point, his bib came off his chest. He had to hold it in order to get a result. Could you imagine? I'm sure his appeal to the BAA would have gotten there if he didn't have a result crossing the finish line.
That's right.
This was like a very gritty race by Career, and yet he completely dominated. I think after that race is when we started talking about him as maybe the slight favorite inside of our big trilogy, where we didn't necessarily include Kipruto. It was all Sawe, Kaplimo, and Career. And I think at one point, you pinned Career as the biggest threat to break 2 hours in the marathon. We were very, very bullish on him last spring.
Well, he had a really neat stat coming out of his win in Chicago in 2024, where he was one of two people in history to negative split and run a sub 1 hour second half of a marathon. So to me, it's like, if you're looking for a keystone stat that signals that you could break 2 hours in the marathon one day, it's you run sub 2 hour marathon pace in the second half of your marathon. That's a great
It's a
signal.
good sign right there.
And the only other person to have ever run that same sort of second half was Kelvin Kiptoon. Of course, passed away a couple of years ago, but still holds the world record is still his at 2 hours and 35 seconds. So we should say world records are not on the table today. Boston is not a world record eligible course.
Right.
It's point to point, and contrary to, I guess, sort of what you would think of Boston, it is technically a net downhill fast course. I put that under big air quotes because this course just absolutely wrecks.
We were talking about how it chews you up and spits you out, or it can. And if we just do want to know the course records, I can throw those out there. Yeah, so we have those. So from 2011, we have Jeffrey Mutai from Kenya with a 2:03.02. So it's been quite a while since we've seen a men's record in Boston. And of course, we have Sharon Lokedi back this year, who ran the Boston Marathon record last year. 2025 in 2:17.22. So we'll see if she gets a course record again and breaks her own course record this year.
So yeah, we're just about 10 minutes away from the men's start time now, and let's get through the rest of the top contenders in the men's field, and then we'll talk about the top American men as well, because it's like, as usual, Boston, a very deep men's field and a very deep American field rather, both in the men's and the women's side. And then we'll break down the women's race in great detail as well. I'm excited to talk about Sharon Lokedi.
Yeah.
Got all kinds of fun inside info because I chatted with her for quite a while at the athlete availability on Friday. So another athlete to keep an eye out on is Ethiopia's Milkesha Mengesha, who is, I believe, this first time running Boston. Yeah. And he has had a 2:03 performance from Berlin a couple of years ago. Cyprian Katut of Kenya, he's total pro. We saw him in Chicago and chatted with him for quite a while. Great competitor in World Marathon Majors. Another 2:03 guy making his debut here in Boston as well, I believe. And Abdi Nagiye, who won New York a couple of years ago.
Yep.
He's in the mix. He's from the Netherlands. He's somebody to keep an eye out for, because if you win New York, it means you're good at running a hilly, unpaced race. And then Lemmy Baranu, and then Haile Miriam Kyrgios. There's a name I want to circle in pencil, maybe not pen yet, but he won Sydney last year when it was in his inaugural year as a World Marathon Major.
So he's good at tough courses.
Yes. So
Great at tough courses.
Sydney is comparable to Boston in terms of its challenge, in terms of its hilliness.
Even more total gain than Boston. Yeah, it's pretty intense.
So when you're watching the race, make sure to highlight these names of people who are really good at running what's called championship style racing,
right?
Which is there's no pacers. The elite field basically sets the pace themselves, so you get all kinds of screwy tactics. So if you're watching the live stream of the race proper itself with us this morning, you're going to see maybe this massive elite men's and women's pack go out maybe super slowly. I mean, not slowly enough that you and I can stay with them, but maybe slowly enough that you could stay with them for a few minutes.
First couple miles.
And so things will yo-yo back and forth as they typically do in Boston. And if you wonder why that is, it's because there is no pacers. And also the world record is not up for grabs here. So it's really about winning the race.
Unless CJ decides to go out front and lead the pack for a while.
Do you want to? Yeah, let's pivot into talking a little bit about the top American men.
Did you like that? I just set it right up for you.
It's like you've done this before. So we had CJ Albertson here as one of our special guests for our live event that we did on Saturday night. So we got to pick CJ's brain. CJ in 2021 led 21 miles of the Boston Marathon before getting swallowed up by a huge elite pack. But he got to experience being in the lead of the race for almost the entire race.
On his birthday.
That's right. It was on his
Yeah,
birthday.
it was a special
October Boston Marathon.
That's right.
Yeah. So you can see that happen in Boston. We've seen unusual characters at the front of this race in the past. So don't be surprised if you see someone like a CJ Albertson just saying, you know what? You guys are all running like 2:12 pace right now. I'm just going to run my 2:08 pace, and I'm going to just suddenly find myself leading the Boston Marathon.
Yep.
So he's a contender for top American. Other contender, Zuhair Talbi.
Yeah.
If he's not on your list, new American, originally from Morocco, just got his citizenship. Personal best comes from 3 months ago, which in marathoning years is super recent. He was in Houston while I was in Houston, and he was the man there. He completely dominated, dropped to 2:05, recently launched a YouTube channel, which runners usually do when they feel super confident about their fitness, I think. And so he's very much on a high, and he's living here now, and I think he's making a massive push for Boston. Galen Rupp in the field 10 years after breaking into the world of marathoning.
I love how you just skip Clayton Young and Ryan Ford, and you're just like, I'm just gonna.
Well, we go by
We'll get
you know
there, we'll get there.
You got to give Galen Rupp his respect. He's been around for a long time,
Yeah.
and he's still kicking it, and he's making a push. Like, I think when people have been in the game for 10 plus years, you start to mythologize him and say, oh, his best days might be behind him, but he's trying.
Turns 40 this year, I think.
He turns 40 this year, and he's making a push for LA. This is legit. And and we know that he's got talent. So, I'm excited to see him really mix it up. Clayton Young, yes.
Yeah, let's go back to the American headliner.
Oh, come on. Watch
I'm
Galen.
not slagging Galen Rupp because he is based Katelyn. He's our contemporary.
Yeah, of
Galen
course.
Rupp. He's
one of us.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm cheering for the old guy.
And I grew up on Rupp, right?
Yeah.
So go Clayton Young. Clayton Young's he's probably I think Zuhair Talbi is the American favorite on the men's side.
I agree with
and
that
I think
too.
Clayton Young is probably the secondary favorite. So big news with him. He just traded sponsors. He was an ASICS athlete for a long time, moved over to Brooks, overcame this massive injury throughout the fall. I think it put him out for about 18 weeks. And around January, February, he and Connor Mance were both in the doghouse, not really thinking that they could switch their fitness around and be ready for Boston. Did not work for Mr. Mance. He pulled out a bit early, didn't quite have the fitness that he wanted. But it seems like Clayton Young is rounding into form. I talked to a few of his close ones, and they're saying, yeah, he's actually really fit. Like, he might be peaking at the right time. So,
Yeah, when you're an experienced marathon runner, you need less of a core build and key workouts and long runs than you'd think.
old man strength.
It's old. Well, he's not an old guy yet, but he is an experienced marathon runner.
let's say.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how he does. He's running in the new Brooks super shoe. He is also, I think he's energized from this. He is his own agent. He's a really interesting figure in American distance running because he has recognized that just running fast is not a way to have a career, unfortunately, anymore for these elite runners. So he is executive produces his own content, his YouTube channel. He's doing his own deals. He fired his agent a year ago just before Boston, or he consciously uncoupled with his agent, as Gwyneth Paltrow would say. But he now represents himself. So I talked to him a little bit at the elite athlete availability, and he said that was a long time coming. It was a really big process for him to decide who he was going to move over to, and Brooks obviously wooed him with their package. So I'm really curious to see how things play out with Mr. Young today. So we're 2 minutes away from the men's start. If you're watching our live watch along and you've got the live stream of the race concurrently going, a note here. I timed it last night when we were doing a test stream. We're exactly 20 seconds delayed because of just having to upload to YouTube. YouTube delays by exactly 20 seconds. So if you really want to nerd out and go side by side two screens side by side, pause the race live stream for exactly 20 seconds, and we will be beautifully synced with the race. So
John Career, just seeing them at the start line, he just had the biggest smile on his face. He doesn't look nervous at all.
He's like, I know what I'm doing this year. I'm not falling. I'm going out super hard.
Maybe that's what they're teasing him about. Maybe that's why he's laughing so hard at the start line.
Our colleague Jessie asked him.
Yes.
She's like, so you fell and won the race last year. John, do you plan on falling again this year?
Jesse asks the hard-hitting question.
She does.
It caught him off guard for a second, and then he laughed. So,
Should we go through the? We spoke a bit too long, I think, because the men's are about to start. So we should go through the women's field. But also, it's a marathon, so we'll elaborate.
Well, we'll have a little
bit more
time
as
in
it-
between.
well,
luckily.
you know
Got
what?
some
Let's let
time.
the men's race begin, and then we'll break down the women's field in detail because we'll have about a 10-minute lead time. We'll make sure we give you the splits, and it looks like the men's race is just about to begin. It's 1 minute away. It's 9:37 is the official start time, and they're pretty punctual here in Boston.
Enough time to slide in a shout out to another contender in Rory Linkletter.
Absolutely.
2:06 marathoner ran his best race last year here in Boston. He was one of the early adopters of the revolutionary Puma Fast Star Nitro Elite 3 and seems to have been on a tear since then. Rory's had a heck of a year. I have a soft spot for him. He's a Canadian, he's a fellow Canadian. He's been killing it in the sponsorship game. He's all over YouTube. I think him and Clayton Young have the best online presence out of all of these professional male athletes. And so I've really liked to follow Rory's journey, and I do think that he's in a new level of fitness.
And also, we should say it's a great opportunity to plug our partner here for the live stream, and that's the Wahoo Kicker Run. And Rory is one of their athletes.
Right.
So if you follow his content on his YouTube channel and his Instagram, he's doing a lot. He lives in Flagstaff. Sometimes it's a bit nippy in Flagstaff, and he does a lot of work on the Wahoo Kicker Run. It's one of the few treadmills in the world that's able to handle someone like Rory Linkletter's pace on a regular basis. The thing's built like a tank. So
I ran my first 2:59 kilometer on the Wahoo Kicker Run
that's right.
the other day with
Witnessed.
help from Koskai. Well, at least the pace.
2:59 kilometer. I mean, that
It's fast for me.
Man, I
feels
was standing
really intense.
I was standing right behind the treadmill. Then I turn around and Katelyn's just booking it to the phone. I'm like, geez, if you fall off the treadmill, I'm in the line of fire.
Koskai's like, can you do that pace for a little bit?
Yeah.
So we should
It's tough.
say the men's race has just begun. So we're at 1 minute, less than a minute into the men's race right now. And I'm watching the live stream correctly here. Yes. And because we've got two streams going on here as we're doing our live watch along. So the men's race has just begun. It's a crazy downhill. First couple kilometers in particular, first mile in particular, first 5K overall. If you wanted to in Boston, if you wanted to run a 5K PB,
Oh,
you could do it in the first 5K of the Boston Marathon if you wanted to, because it is crazy fast downhill. It starts at 500 feet and then drops. And by the time you get in and you run just past where we are here and you get over to Boylston and cross the finish line, you're at just a few feet above sea level, but you start at 500 back in Hopkinton. So it's a big time net downhill
Absolutely.
course. And if you run it smart, you can run a fast race in Boston, although very few do. Interestingly enough, so I mined 110,000 results from 2022 to 2025 and took a look at them from a whole bunch of different perspectives. 90.5% of runners over the last 4 years of the Boston Marathon, positive split.
Positive split, which doesn't surprise me. To an extent, you don't want to fight the course, right? It's a course that spits you out hard and that slows you down in the second half. So if you keep your effort level roughly the same, chances are you will kind of positive split. So Michael's wife is racing Boston today, and she asked him for a race strategy. And so Michael spent 3 days mining every single Boston Marathon result that he could find and came up with a mile-by-mile strategy for her to follow.
Happy
So-
wife, happy life. No, it was something that I've been fascinated by for a long time. Boston is a bewitching course. It's like I think of it as like a very complex puzzle. We talked to CJ Albertson in our live show, and he's done the race 6 years in a row now. And part of the reason why he's doing the race 6 years in a row is because every year you learn something new, and also every year you make some sort of mistake. This course baits you into making all sorts of classic marathoning errors, and it's just a tricky one to figure out how to train for. He seemed to think that you need to do a lot of downhill running, a lot of eccentric movement in order to have success on this course, because the first 25K is downhill.
So early questions here is which shoe brand is going to win? Well, right now, early on, looks like the Puma gentlemen have decided to take the early lead. I see Rory Linkletter, I see Henrik Pfeiffer, 3 Puma. So this is like a crazy colorway. So they have the shoes
love the
and the
colorway.
speed suit. That's like yellow, sky blue, pink.
Hot pink. Rory
called it unicorn puke. I'm not sure if this is the official brand colorway, but 1, 2, 3 guys leading the men.
Speaking of Rory, Alex, we have a comment here that for you to break 14, you should grow a mullet.
I saw the comment.
That will help you.
I chose to not acknowledge
You
it,
didn't want
but
to
thank you
engage
for the
with
suggestion.
So Ben Olsen, there we go. So we talked about this before the men's race began, how in Boston you often get unfamiliar faces leading the early stages of the race. Ben Olsen, American runner with a personal best of 2:13.25 from California International Marathon last December. Puma athlete, he's out front right now in the first.
Well, there you
we
go.
Just got a 1 kilometer split as well, and we'll report on exactly what those times are in a second. We should say, if you're watching our live watch along show and you want to get a really granular understanding of what's happening in terms of splits, the leaderboard, a deep analysis of what's happening, we have our colleagues Jesse and Thomas in the media center right now, and they're doing live updates on our site. So just go to marathonhandbook.com, and it's like right at the top of the homepage. And it's like if you ever follow the New York Times coverage of live events, it's the same sort of thing. It will auto refresh, and they will provide you like second by second updates. They'll give you every kilometer split. They'll tell you what they're seeing and what they're hearing at the media center. One of the cool things about being in the media center is you get all this inside information from the race organizers, letting you know who's dropped out, who's, if there's any major issues or changes that are happening. Often you don't hear about it until after the race. So we're getting a little bit of an inside track there. So go to our live updates for that.
And gang, we have a mile split. Looks like the Puma gentleman is taking the crowd through mile 1 in a crisp 4:31. Average finish time, 1:58 flat. So
there you go.
Conservative start. Wow, that 4:31. That's you know what? That's pretty much what the pro men split in the first mile of the 5K.
There you go.
Wow.
The pro men split 4:29 in mile number 1.
So
and
you could be there with
4:31.
them right now for 1 mile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could. It'd be a long walk back to Boylston.
You can take the T.
We should note that Henrik Pfeiffer, Rory Linkletter, 2 Puma athletes, and then Zuhair Talbi, the A6 athlete and I call him a recent American citizen because he just got his American citizenship in the last, I think,
few months, right?
The 3 of them are taking this out at I would say it's not an honest. I'd say this is a dishonest pace.
It's a dishonest pace, and I think this is a very early testament to how fit Zuhair Talbi is. He could have let those 3 Puma guys just take the lead, but he really wants to put his imprint on this race. Decided that, yeah, it's really fast, but I'm still going to front run. So it's Rory and Zuhair leading the men.
And then behind them is a giant pack of maybe 40 male athletes. Pretty much everyone in the elite race is in this hive chasing these 3 athletes. And already you can see that Henrik Pfeiffer of Germany is struggling a little bit to keep pace with this. I guess theoretically they're still running a sub 2 pace right now. And that we just got the 2nd kilometer marker flyby as Talbi is leading out this race. Be really cool to see if Zuhair Talbi has a big breakthrough here. He won Houston in January. He likes to run Houston. He's been living in the U.S. He went to school in the U.S. He was for many years, for all intents and purposes, just like someone like Helen Obiri or Sharon Lokedi, 2 elite athletes that run for a different country but live in the United States for the most part and are coached in the United States as well. So Zuhair Talbi is now an American citizen, and he's leading the Boston Marathon 2K. And so we're 2 minutes away from the women's race. Let's nerd out on the women's elite field
All right.
for a few minutes here. I am super excited to see if Sharon Lokedi can recapture or can defend her Boston title, and if she can run another 2:7, another course record, maybe faster than 2:17. We've got a good day today.
It's a good day. It's a good day. What I wonder about Sharon Lokedi is how will she do when she's the only one carrying the story? It's always been Lokedi, Obiri in recent New York City and Boston marathons. You can't talk about Lokedi without talking about Obiri. This time around, she's the absolute class of the field, but she's going to be contending with maybe the strongest American women's field ever. And also a few dark horses, including Irene Cheptai. She's got the fastest official PB in the women's field. So she's running 2:17.51 from Chicago back in 2024. She got a 4th place finish in Boston. She'll likely be one of the top. Workanesh Edessa is the other athlete who's broken 2:18. That comes from Hamburg last year. So this is recent. She won Sydney in 2024. She won Osaka in 25. That Hamburg race she also won. I think this is Edessa's bid at an absolute major marathon. She knows how to win a race. We just haven't quite seen her on the world's biggest stages.
You win a world marathon major, obviously your career changes in such a huge way. It opens so many doors. There's sort of, I would say like 3 stages of elite marathon running for a up-and-coming, soon-to-be, hopefully, world-class athlete. You'll do the smaller races. You'll do races in places like China and India as well, where there's a good amount of money, but performance is a tough one because of conditions. Then you'll kind of move into mid-level European and North American races. I think about we're Canadian. We're in Toronto. Toronto has a great race in the fall, but it's sort of that tier below the World Marathon Majors. And then you step into the World Marathon Majors. You win a major, you get invited to other majors, and you get this opportunity to have really, especially if you're from East Africa, where the US dollar or the euro goes 50 times what the Kenyan shilling can buy you, you become a very wealthy and very powerful person in your community. So it is a huge life-changing event to win a Boston Marathon, a London, a New York. So the women's race is underway. We have, so there's a 10-minute stagger between the men's and the women's race. We'll bounce back and forth in terms of providing you updates as to what the pacing is looking like.
You know what I just saw? I think Des Linden is firing the gun, like the start. I saw Des with something in her hand. Is it possible that she starts the race? Because she's racing. Starts the race and then runs in. She's busy, man. She's not one dull moment. She just finished the Marathon des Sables, this crazy stage race in the Sahara Desert.
Came in third place in her first stage race, in her first 100K ultra marathon during that stage race, and now run Boston.
Curious to see. We'll pick up a split in the opening kilometer to get a sense of what the elite women are doing, whether or not they're running at that same breakneck pace. We should flag that technically speaking, the women's world record is 2:09.56, set a couple of years ago in Chicago by Ruth Chepngetich, although
they need to scrap that.
They need to scrap that time because she was caught for doping shortly afterwards. Now, technically, they can't pull her time because she was not popped for doping for that performance. It was soon after that, but I think everyone in the world who follows distance running closely puts a big old asterisk next to that 2:09.56. We should say, though, that, of course, the world record is not eligible to be broken in Boston because of the nature of the course.
One of the things we need to check out, which was very important to Sharon Lokedi when I spoke to her at the elite availability, is her shoes. She's so excited about, she said, you will see me from a mile away during the race because I've got hot pink shoes, my own colorway. She's very excited about that.
I mean,
do you see them?
I don't. Let's keep looking.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I do.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, she's not in the front. Okay, they're bright pink shoes, but I mean, how much can you polish a turd? I mean, apologies to Under Armour. Listen, she's wearing the Velocity Elite 3 by Under Armour, which is a shoe that not many professional athletes wear. I'm under the impression that the reason that these shoes won 5 major marathon podiums is just because Sharon Lokedi is the one wearing them for every single one of those podiums. Under Armour has not been a big player in the running world. They do have an elite training group, Team Dark Sky, so they are making waves. But to see an athlete that's so elite not wear Adidas, Puma, Asics, Nike, or other is alarming. But hey, she seems to make it work year after year. So
I said to her when I was chatting with her on Friday, I was like, I asked her how you must be like super involved in the development of the shoe because you're kind of their only athlete. And she sort of laughed and she's like, yes, basically this is my shoe. And I was like, so you're like LeBron. They should call this the Lokedi.
Of course.
Yes.
She laughed and she's like, I'm actually going to bring that up with them because it's called the Velocity right now, but like it's the Sharon Lokedi.
I mean,
shoe.
in our group chats, we call it the Sharon Lokedi.
Yeah, because I always forget what it's called because
Guys,
nobody else
so,
wears it.
The splits that I have up here for the men, just so we know, they started out so hot at 4:31, but mile 2, 4:35, and mile 3, 4:45.
Okay, so we're coming back down to
We're coming
earth
back down to
now.
earth.
440
Exactly. You took the
445
words
is-
out of my mouth.
That's kind of what they should be.
Right,
running.
right.
So
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. Just bomb it down the hill and then settle into pace. I think this kind of makes sense. I mean, the estimated finish is still 2 hours. That'll evolve. Should we talk a bit about the American women's field?
Absolutely, because that's one of the most exciting storylines, I think, today.
This is a...
And I can give you this is just a perfect segue because in the opening kilometers of this race, perhaps unsurprisingly, if you're a running nerd, you'd have this on your bingo card. Who is leading the race? Susanna Sullivan.
You
Susanna
called
Sullivan.
it. You called it.
I was trying to talk to Susanna Sullivan during the media availability, but I couldn't because this one annoying journalist took all of her time. Michael.
We were just having a good conversation.
You guys talked for like 15 minutes.
She's an interesting character. She's somebody she's a school teacher. She lives in the DMV area. She trains in that area as well. So she's not dipping over to training camps. She's not traveling to East Africa to train. She's got a day job. We talked a lot about teaching middle schoolers. She's prides herself in trying to teach kids how to become good people first, which as a parent of a 7-year-old, I was like, can you teach my kid? But she's got this absolute killer ferocity as a racer. She has led some of the biggest races in the world. Last year at the World Championships in Tokyo, which was just so intense and gross and hot. It was like 85 degrees and 95% humidity at the start line. And there was a lot of game playing in that race where there was a lot of slow gamesmanship happening with the top runners in the race. And she said, screw this. She went to the front. She's like, I'm just going to run my pace. And then she led a huge swath of the World Championship Marathon last summer. And she's done that a number of times at really big races. And she's leading the Boston Marathon right now.
Susanna Sullivan considered maybe a dark horse inside of this American race. The favorite is up for grabs, that title, right? Because on paper, I think you would give Emily Sisson the edge. So she shocked pretty much everyone in 2022 when she lined up in Chicago and set an American record of 2:18:29.
Yep.
That still stands. So every time you list the American elites, she's number one. She's never run Boston. It's her first time. Last fall was a bit tough for her. She was coming back to New York, which is a New Balance event. She's a New Balance athlete. Everything was set up for her to have a killer day. And she kind of faded into the pack. She ended up finishing 8th. It wasn't really the day that she wanted. And so here in Boston, there's kind of this thing where you wonder if we'll have the Emily Sisson from 2022 or more so have a performance from her that we saw last fall. And then at the same time, you have a few athletes who've looked to be a lot more solid as of late. So unfortunately, Fiona O'Keefe, who finished 4th in that race in New York, had to pull out due to a hamstring issue, which sucks. I shared an elevator with her yesterday, as the news came out, and it's like, what do you tell someone when you have 3 floors to travel with her and just see that she pops up on your email saying that she's withdrawing?
Being in an elevator with someone is awkward, and the elevator
Just in
experience is
general,
always
yeah.
awkward.
Well, I live
and
in
then
a
you're
condo, so I've become okay at it. It's kind of an art to
Okay.
be have a 12-second conversation with someone that isn't weird. But all I could muster was I'm sorry about the race and the hamstring.
Well, because you know how she must feel.
Yeah.
Being
And then
injured
she
right
saw
before
me,
a
she's
race.
like, oh, this is the guy who tried to convince me that the earth was flat yesterday.
Yeah. Now, I'm sad for her because I think she is a fascinating athlete. She won the 2024 U.S. Olympic trials in Orlando in her debut, out of the blue, running one of the faster times in American history in the process. Also, like, that was just okay. Here's a pro tip, USATF. Don't host your U.S. Olympic marathon trials in Florida.
Yeah.
Like that's a terrible idea.
It is a terrible idea.
But she ran so well in that race. And then in New York, I mean, she obviously had a pretty major issue going into the 2024 Olympics in Paris. She didn't scratch. There was a suggestion that she would. There was a whole controversy around her and another American athlete, which we'll talk about in a second, Jess McLean, because they brought Jess McLean over as the alternate, and because it seemed like Fiona O'Keefe was going to DNS due to injury. She ends up running the first 5K of the race extremely slowly and then DNFing the race. There's a lot of controversy about that. I don't think it's ever been fully cleared up why that went down, but we can presume this because there was money on the line. You know, you start a race, you start the Olympics, and then you get a bonus for that. And if you don't get the money. And, you know, professional athletes in this sport don't unfortunately make nearly as much money as they perhaps should, given the attention and the size of the industry overall. So anyway, she was my pick to win Boston.
She was.
Sad.
Well, I think we can pivot to who you just mentioned, because Alex, you had a really wonderful conversation recently with Jess McLean. What insight did she give you into her performance upcoming in Boston today?
My God, thank you for mentioning that, because to quote Lizzo's backup singers, it's about damn time for Jess McLean to have her day. Okay, so not only the Olympic thing from 2024, earlier this year, poor Jess McLean, absolutely dominant at the U.S. Half Marathon Championship, which has bragging rights up for grabs, but also positioning for the upcoming World Half Marathon Championships in Copenhagen. Looked like a fait accompli. Everything was done. She was leading. I even left. I stopped watching because I had to meet some guys for a run. I was like, oh, well, Jess McLean took it. She looked incredibly comfortable, was led off course. There was a sequence of events.
My God, this was ridiculous.
That at the Atlanta the Atlanta Track Club that was hosting this half marathon championship meant well. Most things I think were under control. Then there was, I'm not even going to try to, because I'll get some facts wrong, but I think there was a person in distress where a volunteer had to go help. Anyway, one thing led to another. The lead car took a wrong turn, taking leader Jess McLean and also second and third place runners along with them. When they realized their mistake, they had fallen to like 9th, 10th, and 11th place. The Atlanta Track Club rectified the thing. I think Jess McLean got her prize money. USATF also selected her and the others who went off course to the World Half Marathon team. So reparations
I think
were
that was
made.
fair.
No, it was completely fair, but also it was just like, geez, Jess McLean, sent to the Olympics, can't compete. This thing happens to her. And all the while, she's just like doing her thing, right? She's training well. She's a pleasure to talk to. I had a really nice conversation with her. She's another one of these athletes who holds a full-time job and just kills it as an athlete at the same time. And something tells me that she's ready to go. Last year was somewhat quietly an excellent one for her. She was 8th in Boston, 7th at the World Champs. And here she comes with a very, very good shot at being top American. So what was the insight? I don't know, just having some...
She's ready to go.
Sorry, I never answered your question.
That's okay.
Boston experience.
Yeah.
I think she knows how to run a tough race. The World Champs were very tough. She didn't mind front running. Boston last year was surgy. She did well. I think she's confident in her experience. She's going there confident.
She said on Friday at the press conference, she said, I'm going to take some big risks in Boston on
I
Monday.
love that.
And when it starts to hurt, I'm going to dig in. And I love that mentality.
Yeah.
And
speaking of digging in, speaking of taking risks, we have our first 5K split with the men.
Let's hear it.
If I can take a quick look at that with everyone. So for first place right now, well, we've got this little pack together. CJ Albertson.
Hey.
Our guy. Are we surprised? We've got
I feel so
CJ.
like we're so prescient.
Yeah,
you
we're
know?
exactly. CJ, Rory, Pfeiffer Hendrick, Hendrick Pfeiffer, Benson Kipruto, and Ryan Ford up in the top 5 there. Even though it's a pack which is much larger than that. You've got at least 10 guys together.
I count 24
24
more or
altogether
less
there? Yeah.
in this
nice big
super
pack.
this lead pack here. The top 3 have been changing back and forth in the last couple of kilometers since we grabbed that 5K split. Last I eyeballed them, it was Henrik Pfeiffer of Germany at the front. So he started out towards the front since kilometer 1.
Yep.
And very talented runner from Germany, Puma athlete. He and his wife both are professional distance runners. She's not done a marathon yet, I don't believe. I think she's got. Does she have the German half marathon record? I'm going deep here in my weird knowledge of running, but they're an interesting couple. They're an interesting couple to follow on Instagram as well. It's entertaining on Instagram between the two of them. So we've all the heavy hitters are still there.
Yep.
We've still got John Career. Technically speaking, was sitting back in 9th, a second behind CJ in that 5K split, but obviously he's just the smart move in the opening half of a race is not to be at the front,
Right.
but to be in the pocket. You think about the GOAT, Eliud Kipchoge, how you think back to his greatest races, to his world records. Where was he positioned in those races? He was always middle of that lead pod, that lead group, protected, allowing others to do the work, and just staying focused on the person in front of him, getting comfortable, getting loose, getting aerobic, and flowing with the race. And because being at the front of the race is actually the hardest place to be.
It absolutely is. Like you think in cycling, Jesse would help us out here. But you want to get in there, you want to get in the pocket, and you want to draft, and you want people to shield you from the wind or shield you just from resistance in general.
Yeah.
So I think that a really smart place to be is right in the middle of that big pack. So you've got the 3 guys out front, but they're doing a little extra work in my eyes.
And now Corral 1 is pouring on to the course.
Woo!
The general race has begun, and then they cut right back to the men. But before commenting on the men, we're starting to get some early mile splits from the women.
Nice.
2 completely different races happening here.
Okay.
The women, as usual, more calculated than the men. So estimated finish time 2:20 high. So manageable, doable for a lot of these athletes. They are actually, they're surging a little. So the second mile, they started conservatively, 5:21, put on the brakes a little bit in the second mile, 5:30, and now they're picking it up again a little bit, likely settling to pace 5:17. To me, this reads as a field that knows that they shouldn't be bombing those first 5 to 10K.
Yeah, and we've got on the women's side, we've got Susanna Sullivan still leading this race. She likes to front run. I think she likes to feel a sense of control and poise over her own performance. So she's got no fear in doing so. So she'll keep this somewhat honest, but probably right around that 220, 221 range, which is her ability level. Interestingly enough, in those 110,000 results that we looked at, one other stat that jumped out overwhelmingly is women are much better at pacing Boston than men. I don't know. It's like doesn't surprise me.
I'm not too surprised.
No, it's like ego definitely is a factor in Boston, and just overwhelmingly, women just run the Boston Marathon more intelligently than guys do.
Oh, man. Puma must be happy at that shot with the men. Hendrik Pfeiffer, Alex Cyr, Rory Linkletter, 1, 2, 3, leading guys past 5K.
You wonder always like what the behind the scenes conversation is with a brand, right? Because TV time, brand awareness, establishing yourself, especially if you're a brand like Puma, which is, I almost feel, if you can feel bad for a multi-billion-dollar multinational company, I feel bad for Puma because they have tried really hard to reassert themselves as a running brand and not just a soccer brand, and they've invested a lot of money in R&D. You believe that they've got the best super shoe in the world right now
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah.
With their Fast R3, they've spent a lot of money paying elite athletes, great people to do to train and to race for them, and yet I think they still struggle with selling their shoes to everyday runners. And they make really good shoes for everyday runners too. So it's not a free ad for Puma.
Well, the super shoe is hard to get your hands on still.
It's getting better.
Yeah.
I'll say it's getting better, but in terms of like accessibility versus talent of a shoe, or I guess effectiveness of a shoe, I should say, it's a very good mix.
We should say on the women's side, and also on the men's side as well, another brand that's doing really well in terms of positioning themselves and having a great roster of athletes is Brooks.
Yeah.
They've done. I mean, they just
have quite a lineup.
grabbed Clayton Young on the men's side. They just plucked him from Asics. But then also you've got Jess McLean, you've got Susanna Sullivan, of course you've got the icon in Des Linden now, she's running this race
Vestry?
today.
CJ
Vestry,
Alberts.
Vestry,
CJ,
Yeah.
they're doing really good
What
work.
a lineup.
There's an underlying thing though. Some brands seem to be doing very well in North America, like Brooks, and then some other brands just have a foothold on East Africa, and that makes a massive difference. So like, someone asked in the comments which brand is going to be on the podium, and I think Asics has Adidas has a good chance. Asics has a slightly smaller chance. Nike as well. In 2025, Adidas dominated the major marathon podiums, like dominated. And the question is, well, is it because the shoe is that much better? At the time, it was the Pro Evo 2, or is it just because they have Benson Caputo and company? They just have the better stable of athletes. So that's what I don't know. I'm still trying to look at the stream and spot the one shoe that I really want to see, and that's the Adidas Pro Evo 3.
Not catching a glimpse yet.
Well, not catching. It's hard, like moving feet. And these
Yeah.
Adidas shoes, they all kind of look the same. So I'm trying. If you see all black shoes that look like Alpha Fly 3s, pro tip, it's not. It's a new shoe. It's Nike are likely going to call it the Alpha Fly 4. I'm not sure what they're waiting on for releasing it. We had the theory that they were going to release the shoe this weekend in Boston. Instead, they just made a slogan and then took it down and put it back up again. And we should get into that at some point.
The Nike drama of the week.
Well, let's talk about it real briefly, just as we. But first, got to throw down a 10K update for the men. So
All right.
29:02. Alex Cyr, technically the first runner to cross the 10K threshold, but we do have a crowd of, what do we count them as, about 20 runners in a slightly scattered formation, but just crossed 10K at just over 29 minutes. So the pace is becoming more modest, more realistic. They're on pace to finish in 2:02 mid. So
That's made a big drop in 10K.
We can all say that the 202 is probably not realistic
Likely
for some
not
of
gonna
these
happen.
athletes
No.
because of what happens in the Newton Hills and just overall in terms of who's leading the race right now. But you never know. Somebody could have a banner day. Looks like Henrik Pfeiffer of Germany is dead set on on cracking through and winning a world marathon major right now. He's right at the front. They're going through the bottle station just past 10K right now. So you tend to see some surging happen. There's kind of two types of runner when it comes to the bottle stations or the water stations. If you're in the open field, you're either a surger or the opposite of a slower downer. You're either
That's a
somebody.
technical term.
Yeah, that is.
Yes, it is.
I trademarked that one.
little thought on Alex Cyr. I think we're going to see a big breakthrough performance from him today. 2:08:33 is his best. He's one of the most recent Americans to break 1 hour in the half marathon, and is now one of the fastest Americans over half. He's had a massive breakthrough in the last year. I don't think 2:08 is indicative of what he can do. So I'm expecting that he's going to have a big day.
Should talk a little bit about how many carbs elite athletes are now taking in. This is one of the big innovations in running in the last 10 years since the first, since Kipchoge ran Breaking 2 back in 2017. That was really when Morton, the gel and powder company, came onto the scene because Kipchoge basically made Morton famous overnight. He switched. Fun fact, Kipchoge in 2017 going into Monza for Breaking 2 had another nutrition sponsor, and he dumped them for Morton when he was introduced to Morton. So, and then Morton, of course, I feel like has been, along with the Super Shoe, kind of one of the big revolutionary stories in running in the last decade. And now elite athletes have experimented with like, I call it like carb maxing.
Yeah. Well, the development has been huge because when we've spoken to Amby Burfoot told us we asked him, how many gels did you take when you won the Boston Marathon? 0. How much water or hydration did you drink? 0. And then, the development from that to now. And you've got CJ, who told us that he's going to be trying to take between 100 and 120 grams of carbs per hour during the Boston Marathon.
Yeah.
So it has really evolved. And you see runners who are taking, Michael is more on the minimalist side of carb intake during a marathon, and he does really well. And then you've got someone like me who's taking 2 to 3 gels an hour if I can, and then people who are taking up to 120 grams. So there's quite a range happening, but the tendency seems to go the more carbs the better if your body can handle it and use it, right?
Well, it's a whole art because you can train your gut, right?
Right.
The glucose and fructose receptors. I talked to a dietitian about this, and the gut is kind of like a muscle in that sense. You can't just start boom at 120.
Right.
But a guy like CJ probably worked his way up to it, and now he can burn more fuel.
Right.
And the bottle stations for the elite athletes they become crucial, right? It's almost like when you think about F1, when you think you come in to a pit stop for a tire change, like the race is won and lost based on whether or not you're getting the right tires on and you're timing it all correctly. And it's the same thing with the bottle stations as well.
Someone asked, could we get a timestamp call so I can sync up my watching? So you mentioned we're about 20 seconds.
It's pretty much exactly 20 seconds from the live stream to us being pushed onto YouTube, to our stream being pushed on YouTube. So if you pause the race itself for exactly 20 seconds and then hit play, you'll be synced up perfectly with us.
It may vary a little because someone in the comments mentioned about a minute. So I guess kind of, start with 20 seconds.
Start with 20 seconds and work your way
and see
back.
what
It was 20
happens.
seconds last night when we did the test stream.
Yeah.
And we had like 14 people randomly watching me talk in the back of a cafe. We'll give a shout out for a second here to our to the live watch along shows sponsor Wahoo and the Kicker Run. We have done a ton of content around it over the last. How long have we been running on the Wahoo Kicker Run for?
Jeez, well, when did we set it up in Canada? Like
It's been a while,
more
guys.
than a year. I think.
It's been more than a year.
Absolutely
I think
more
we
than a
got not a prototype, but like fresh out of the factory treadmill, and the thing is nuts. My favorite aspect of it is you can use Zwift. If you're a cyclist, you know what Zwift is. If you're not a cyclist, it may be a little bit of a foreign world to you because it's a virtual world that you can run in. It's like you have an avatar. There's the mythical land of Watopia. It's this like made up universe in Zwift. And you're basically running in a video game. It's like the metaverse. It is.
It is the metaverse.
The metaverse has failed for Mark Zuckerberg and for Facebook, but it exists for running and for cycling. It's really cool. Like there's badges. There's all this sort of like gamification of it. It's got me through some very long winters in Canada. I ski on weekends, and basically there was no other way to run where I'm at. So I run on the Wahoo Kicker Run. My wife has run all of her Boston long runs on it.
Is she?
Every single one. Yeah. She did 10 20-mile runs on it this winter.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm peeping the women's field.
Yeah.
We have 3 early leaders, and I mean a 3-second gap is not much of a gap, I'll be honest, but it at least shows confidence to run near the front. They hit 5K in 16:43. Okay, actually it's not that much of a gap, but Cody Clevin in the front. She's not an athlete who was on our list.
No.
She's
No,
a
she was not.
2:29 marathoner. She ran that in Sacramento. She has spent some time on the track, just subbing 17 minutes. So Nicole's notes is not an athlete that you would think to see in the front. Maybe she knows something that we don't.
Now, we should note that when you look at the extended elite fields, Boston does a nice job with having big men's and women's elite fields that go 40 deep.
Yeah.
And they invite a lot of Americans to come run in the elite field and treat them really well. It's a pretty cool experience to get invited to come run Boston as an elite. They bring you in many days in advance. An elite athlete once told me that they'll provide you with like a vehicle to like drive out onto the course on like the Wednesday or Thursday when you get in town. Drive you out into the course and let you run in through the Newton Hills to get an experience.
Oh, nice.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
like
That's
it's like
awesome.
it's really like you're not just showing up and they're not just flying you in and putting you in the Holiday Inn. It's like you're staying in a Fairmount. It's a pretty deluxe experience. And you'll note that a lot of the people in this elite field, a lot of the Americans, have their personal best from CIM, California International Marathon. It's in
Did notice
December.
that.
That's a race that really caters to fast running and fast American running. You're running it this year?
I'm running it this
Hey.
year. I've got someone in the audience here who's running it this year with me, Jim, as well. Shout out.
I've run it before. I've
You've
run
run
it
it?
twice. It's an awesome race.
Yep.
So if you're looking to run fast, you're looking to qualify for Boston. They actually have a bell at the finish line, a BQ bell. If you
Nice.
cross the finish line, you get to ring the bell, and it's kind of a neat thing. You're running in towards the finish line, you're hearing people ring the bell. It's kind of an inspiring experience. So we're how far are we into the men's and women's? Let's do a time check.
Yeah,
here.
we've almost got to be coming up to that 15K split. I'm waiting
Well,
for that to come in.
Well, the men have crossed 8 miles, and now they're in. If there's such a thing as a flat part of the course, I think they're getting to that more level area. So, but since mile 6, I think they've kind of tried to regulate their pace, and now they're again right around 2:03 pace at 8 miles. Like you said, close to the 15K. But it's funny when they do a split screen, you see the men running in a train, which means they're closer to a fast pace. People are struggling to hang on.
That's right.
And then the women are all scattered across the road, all running at a more manageable pace. So the women really aren't pushing it. Mile 3 was 5:17, mile 4 5:24, mile 5 5:29. I think the women's field is lacking someone to put a huge surge in, and I think the reason is everyone knows Sharon Lokedi is the girl. She's the one, and
She'll decide. Yeah,
and she's completely content running in
She's in
11th or 12th.
charge.
Her Irene Cheptai, who, if you're watching the live stream, is on the your far right when you're far left if you're running, far right if you're watching the screen. Those are two of the along with Workanesh Odessa. Those are two of the top runners in the women's field. But it's a good size pack. You'll notice this in Boston. You don't see this in many other races, but because of the nature of the course, because effectively you're just running on like an old highway, basically. You're an old two lane, not a country road, but a kind of suburban
Sure
road.
feels that way when you're starting out the race, though.
Yeah.
It's a narrow road.
And it's twisty and turny. It's up and down. I don't know if there's a single flat, let's say 20 meters on this course. And it's a wide enough road. You get both lanes, but you will notice throughout this race that the choices that different elite athletes make as to how they run this course, how they run the tangents, vary wildly. Like you will see, first of all, they're like, 8 wide. And then you're going to see certain runners are going to run very far left or very far right, especially when you see a major turn. So keep an eye out for that. There is typically at World Marathon Majors a blue line painted on the course. I don't believe Boston does the blue line. New York does do it. I think London does it as well. That's when you see a blue line, it's a World Marathon Major measurement of it. This is exactly 26.2, 42.195 kilometers. It's not on the course here in Boston, so you're basically guessing at how they've measured this course. At some point, they probably do it every year. They will take a wheel. It's I think it's called a Cooper wheel. It's a wheel that is calibrated perfectly to perfectly measure, and they will walk the entire course to measure it to make sure it's accurate. I don't know how often the World Marathon
I
Majors
have one
do
of
it.
those little wheels.
I do too.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
You
To
measure your workout routes?
Well, kind of. For the running club, if we want to measure something out exactly for a test or something, we'll do it with the wheel.
You take it into the trails?
Up over rocks.
Yeah.
Hey, is it too late to pick a dark horse for me?
I think it's still
Yeah.
fair game because neither of these races have really evolved into a clear narrative. There's still quite a few men and women in their respective lead packs. There's no breakaways yet, so
We'll take it.
Okay,
Yes.
so I have a dark horse.
Okay.
How do we not talk about this person yet? Dakota Popane.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Previously,
right.
Dakota Lindworm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She got married. She's an Olympian. Dakota has had a really good 2024 to the point where in all of our 2025 marathon previews, we would choose her as a dark horse, and 2025 just wasn't quite. It just didn't quite hit.
and that's why I think we haven't been talking as much about her
No.
in 2026 thus far.
But like, she's got a wicked resume. She was 12th at the Paris Olympics as a relatively new and young marathoner. Yeah, she's wearing the Fast R3s, which I tend to be pretty bullish about. In Chicago, in Chicago, she was even 7th. I guess there were so many storylines in Chicago 2025 that we somewhat overlooked her performance, but it was really good. It's 224, and I think she's due for something faster. I think the one little black mark on her resume is that last year in Boston, things didn't quite go well for her. She was 16th, kind of just faded in the hills, but she's looking good right now. So she's like, whereas the men have a slew of Puma representatives running near the front, I think she's Puma's only athlete in the women's lead pack right now.
Yeah, she ran really well at the kind of breakout start at the 2024 U.S. Olympic trials, qualifying for that Olympic team. Kind of came out of nowhere and was a big story because she was like sort of this lovely, infectiously nice person, and had a really cool moment at the finish where she's just like had this huge grin and. Of course, performed really well. But yeah, you're right. Like she's suddenly slipped back into dark horse status because of her year last year. Who do you get before the race evolves any further here? I mean, my pre-race pick got scratched before the start.
That's true, yeah.
With Fiona O'Keefe. But
Yeah.
who do you think's going to win the 130th Boston Marathon, both men and women?
Well, I
Are
mean,
you going to change your pre-race picks?
No, I mean, I was always Loketti. I don't think I can bet. The only way I bet against Loketti is to try to create good TV, which I'm not just going to do. I think she's going to win. I think she's the fittest. She's the class of the field. So I have her. And on the men's side, I've been so flaky all weekend because like people ask me sometimes. Once I'll say Benson Kipruto, and then another time I'll say John Courier. I don't know who's got it between both of them. Neither of them are showing their hand right now.
Yeah, they're both tucked in, playing it really smart. We really don't know what's going to happen. I'm Kipruto and Loketti.
I know you're
Of
Kipruto.
course. I mean, how would you not guess that? Yeah.
He tells you secrets. Of course, you have to cheer for him.
Exactly.
John
I'm on his
Courier
side.
John Courier doesn't even tell us what shoes he's wearing.
You see?
I
What about you, Michael?
I picked Haile Mariam Kiros, who won Sydney last year, as my pick, who's also kind of, I guess, a dark horse pick
Yeah, definitely.
as well. So I got a 2-for-1 there. And I had picked Fiona O'Keefe to have the big breakout success winning the Boston Marathon. She's not even starting the race. So,
You gotta
I
pick
get to
up-
change my pick, which
Yeah.
means I get to go back to my girl, Sharon Loketti.
Yep.
I think she's like maybe top 3 favorite runners for me right now. So I asked her on Friday, what do you do when you break the course record, you win the race? How do you change your training for the next go round? Like, how do you improve on the best ever?
Right.
And she said that she didn't really do much different in this build. It
Okay.
went really well. She does go back to Kenya. She's been living in the U.S. since she was 18. She went to the University of Kansas, but she's super tight with her family. And she went back to Kenya, spent some time with her family, and Kiptangat trained with them. She said she trained by herself there. But there's this cool subculture, obviously, of running in the Rift Valley in Kenya. And you can actually like hire a pacer. So she said she connected with somebody that she knew and trusted, a local guy who's an elite athlete. And she basically worked with him for the most part. But there's like huge groups there. So she's like, you'd see people every day. You jump in for runs. It's kind of like, it is like Disney World for running. The dirt trails, the dirt roads out there. You're running at really good elevation. You're running with the best runners in the world. So she's just like, I just did that, and I feel really confident that that's going to deliver me another win. So
that's still on the bucket list for me. Little look at the men's race. So the lead pack of 24 has crossed the 15K mark in just about 43:45. So that's still on pace for a 2:03 low. I should mention most of the big players are still in it, but not all. So we have a few early droppers.
Ooh.
Galen Rupp, shoot. Okay, he's about a minute 30 off the lead. So definitely not what he wanted.
Or maybe he's being smart and he's just running his own race.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it's too early to say that these athletes drop because they're feeling terribly, but also...
I mean, it's not a hot take for me to say I don't think Galen Rupp's going to win the 2026 Boston Marathon, but...
No. Sam Chalanga, same thing, is off by just about 40 seconds. Abdi Nagiye, previous New York champion, is off the pack by 40 seconds.
That's surprising.
That is surprising. Nagiye tends to run at or near the front. He's always in. And then CJ Albertson, talk about guys who run near the front. So he's about 34 seconds off the lead. I think that's kind of telling for a runner like CJ.
So if you've chosen us and you're watching our live watch along show here, you want a snapshot of what the men's race, like a vibe check of what the men's lead pack is looking like right now. It's starting to get a little strung out. You had a second ago Henrik Pfeiffer of Germany, who we've mentioned a number of times already. He was still at the front leading, and but it's all stretched out here. And there's we can do a head count here, but there's about 15, 20 guys in this long train of athletes. So it is strung out a little bit. Like you said earlier, Alex, that does sort of signal that the pace is still pretty aggressive. And then on the women's side, it's more of a clustered pack. Susanna Sullivan
She's still
doing
out front.
as Susanna Sullivan does. She is at the lead, setting the pace, setting the tone for this race. She's not messing around. I love her attitude. And then there's a group of, I'd say, we can do the head count here on the list, but about 14, 15 athletes. You've got Sarah Hall right in the middle there. She loves to get her nose in the race, especially in Boston. And she likes to see where she's at, see if she can do something special on the day. She's a very gutsy runner. Should thank her. She sent us a few copies of her memoir, which was just published, which we gave away on Saturday night at our live show. And it's just a big list, a big group of I would say mostly American runners in this lead group. Jess McLean there, looking very comfortable. She's got the sunnies on. She's looking good. Stride looks good. Looks relaxed.
I want one of our viewers to tell us more about Cody Clevin. If you're from the Sacramento area, like she is, she's running with just as much confidence as Suzanne Sullivan. Wasn't even on our radar, or even on, I think, the BAA's radar, to be honest.
Was she not on I don't think she was on the elite start list.
I haven't seen that name before.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she's the Alex Cyr of the Boston Marathon women's elite field.
No, because she's running near the front.
Oh, that's right. And you were on the list and she wasn't.
And I was actually on the list. I was running near the back. Someone in the comments asked, how broadcasting is also hard. How do you fuel for a morning like this? It's by getting our videographer Koske to get a second cup of coffee.
It's eating half a chocolate croissant 5 minutes before the live stream, and then just
taking in an energy gel.
A bunch of Never Second gels, which are here at the back.
Shout out to them for helping us out this week as well. I like to think of it as like the greatest endurance athletes in the world train their body to switch over from glycogen to burning a higher volume of fat stores.
Is that what's happening
right now?
And
that is what's happening right now. It's about 80 minutes into your endurance performance. You can feel this little switch. I feel it in my gut when it happens. It just happened for me. I
feel it right
fat
now.
Stores right now. If I keep talking, I'll come out like 5 pounds lighter at the end of this live show. So
6-pack in progress.
6-pack in progress.
We should take another moment to shout out the sponsor of this live watch along, Wahoo. They sent us this like hooded sweatshirts.
Do we look snazzy?
I feel
underneath.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's comped stuff that we get that I'm like, thank you. I'm never going to wear this. But
And it was 32 degrees when we walked out the front door this morning.
that's
so thank
right.
goodness
So
we have
thank
this heavy
goodness, 'cause I didn't have a
sweatshirt.
sweater.
Yeah.
So
This is going to make it in the suitcase
this
back
is
home.
going to make
Oh,
it in the suitcase
absolutely.
back home.
Yeah, same.
So they have developed, we call it like the super shoe of treadmills. It's the Wahoo Kicker Run, which is just the sturdiest, most powerful device that I've certainly ever used. Like, you do a lot of travel, we all do, and it's hilarious watching Alex at the hotel gym destroying the treadmill at the
He
hotel
has broken a treadmill.
He literally
in
did break a
Texas. Was it
treadmill
in
in Texas
Texas?
once.
Yeah.
I fried a treadmill
Yep.
at the Austin, Texas Holiday Inn doing a threshold run.
You just gave yourself up.
Yeah, well, I just
They're like, it was you.
It was-
well, the thing just stopped. Like the carpet just came to full stop. I almost like hit
It was
myself in
very
the-
dangerous.
Yeah. Like I told the gym attendant, "What's wrong with your treadmills?" It's like, I don't think you usually put it up to 12 before.
Yeah, exactly.
well, yeah.
I didn't know it went up to that.
Yeah,
fast.
so I think that's your problem.
So anyway, the Wahoo Kicker Run definitely does not have that problem. The thing is so stable. Check out the content we've made on our YouTube channel about it. We did a cool series breaking 14 with Alex, trying to break 14 minutes on the 5K for the first time, and you did a lot of training on that. So
Yeah.
be sure you check out that series. It's super cool. Like, one of the neat things about being in Boston this weekend is like people are like randomly yelling at us like, did Alex break 14?
Yeah.
And so it's cool.
yeah, that happened a bunch. Which to them, I gave them my long-winded story. You know, to talk about it. That'll be in the epilogue. Men's race. If we shouted out Dakota Popane, I think we need to shout out. I don't want to say the male equivalent because that's not true. But this is someone who I think hasn't received the love that he deserves so far, and that's Ryan Ford. Okay,
Yeah.
Ryan Ford, on athlete, signed with them last year.
Unsponsored athlete last year going into Boston.
That's
you know,
true.
Do you know what he did before the race? He borrowed a pair of Pumas to race in because he didn't
Last year.
in 2025 he didn't have
Super
proper
shoes?
super shoes, I guess, or he did
borrowed super shoes?
he borrowed them from someone because
That's amazing.
if you're not sponsored, you're dropping like $300 on a pair of super shoes. So he borrowed the shoes from his buddy, went to the race, dropped a 208, and then had every brand look at him like he had three heads, and soon enough, he became a non-athlete. So yesterday I saw him shaking out with Joe Klecker, who usually gets more notoriety. He's been around the game for a long time. He was a standout with the Colorado Buffaloes. Ryan Ford, not so decorated. He's just like kind of here. And right now he's running in third place on the men's side of things. So he should
Very
be
cool.
considered one of the very top contenders. He's another like 59-minute half marathoner. So yeah, that's to me that kind of like Alex Cyr in that 208 area, but now showing signs of much better fitness in the last few months. So I think he's a key contender to be top American.
Ryan Ford could be last year's Connor Mantz, maybe. Just knocking on the podium door, big breakthrough,
Maybe
taking a
so.
step, especially if the race does slow down. That's a possibility for him.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be totally surprised if Ford took another jump and ran a 207 or even a 206.
Sure.
So it'd be a very cool thing for American distance running if you had another guy in that 207, 206 range. Should give a shout out to like the Eliud Kipchoge of the wheelchair men's race marathoning. Marcel Hoog, who won yet another, I don't know how many Boston marathons this is now, but it's like, I feel
Is
like
this 8, 9, 10?
Jeez.
I feel like every
Same.
major we cover, it's the Marcel Hoog show. So, and might be like the nicest man in
Yeah.
the world.
Really?
He's obviously a mainstay here in Boston, and he's won another major.
9 times.
He's now the 9-time
Wow.
Boston Marathon champion. That's crazy.
He's just a machine.
Women through 10K.
Okay.
We've got a 10K. We've got a 10K women's time check.
So 33:31 for Susanna Sullivan and company. So they're 19 women deep through 10. That's pace of about 2:21. So again, like not completely pedestrian, but very manageable for this group of athletes.
And
I think
we should say name check here. Some of the top American runners are in the mix here, which
Yep.
is super exciting for fans of American distance running. Sarah Hall is in there. She's how old's Sarah Hall now? She's like 42 years old.
Is she one of
I
our
believe.
contemporaries, Michael?
She is definitely one of ours. She's an early
43.
80s kid.
43, yeah.
43
Sarah
years
Hall
old.
remembers a
Thank-
time before the internet. Sarah Hall, I would probably was just like had to come home for dinner, but otherwise was
Yeah.
just allowed to go play
Growing up
all
without
afternoon.
cell phones, just like we
Exactly.
did, Michael.
So Sarah Hall's in the mix. Other familiar faces on the American side. Jess McLean's in the mix. Emily Sisson is in the mix. Wouldn't it be a huge deal if Emily Sisson won the Boston Marathon?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
yeah, maybe it's written in the stars. An American runner beating Sharon Lokedi. Good. I struggle to see it, but one of them is going to have a day.
Yeah. Lokedi might be unbeatable in the final couple of miles of this race in terms of her. She's just got this incredible kick. We've seen it in the last couple of years in Boston. We saw it last year where she took down Helen Obiri in that final mile. And they've been trading final mile throwdowns over the last few Bostons and New Yorks. One cool thing that I chatted with Lokedi about on Friday was, it's like, what's the deal with the rivalry between you and Helen Obiri?
You have some great insight here.
Yeah, she's like, I was like, were you sad to find it that so Obiri's running London, and they've had this incredible rivalry in New York and Boston, where both Lokedi and Obiri have both run Boston, New York, the last few years in a row, and they've traded wins back and forth and back and forth, and also it's like high drama TV when they race each other, because it comes right down to the final mile, and there's always this throwdown between the two of them. And Lokedi is a very vocal competitor. And last year in Boston, in the final 2 miles, Obiri was sitting on Lokedi and wouldn't go to the front. And Lokedi, you could see her in the broadcast turning back and yelling at her like, get off my ass, get in front, do some work. It was really intense. And there was some sense of like, is there animosity? Is there beef between these two? I asked her about that. She said, she's like, when we're not racing, we're good pals, we're friends, we text each other all the time.
I would
surprised
not
me.
have guessed. Yeah, exactly.
She said the last few years, they actually warm up and cool down together at New York and Boston. So they're close.
Yeah.
Could have fooled me,
They're buddies.
man.
Yeah, they
But
could have
when
fooled
they're
me as well.
competing against each other, look at it was just like, you know, she's a competitor. She's just another competitor, right? So
We have the 20K split for the men, if we want to take a quick look at that.
And it's weird.
And so we've got Ryan Ford out front. We've got Hendrik Pfeiffer still up there as in second, and Alex Cyr. Clayton Young is up there in fourth. We're on a predicted finish estimate still of right under 204. So it's coming in at 203.46 right now. And it's still a pretty big part, but we have about 6 people up front, and then the others about 15 seconds behind. They're starting to kind of break off just a little bit.
And it's a bit of it's an innocuous gap, because the weird part is that the main contenders are in the chase pack right now. So
Yep.
your Cyprian Katut, your John Career, your Benson Capruto, they've let the Americans go.
Yep.
They've given them 5-6 seconds, knowing damn well that they're able to catch them right now.
We
Lemmy
should say
Berhanu
here,
is
as
making
going
a
into
surge.
the bottles, Lemmy Berhanu, who I feel like hasn't had a great marathon in about 5 years, is making a big surge right now. We've talked about Lemmy Berhanu in the past at World Marathon with our World Marathon major coverage, and I think the knock on him in the last few years is that he's won a major, he's had some good performances, he's got a great seed time, but he hasn't really run a good one in a while. And right now he's making a move out of the bottle station. We said earlier that there's like 2 types of runner with the bottles. There's the surger out of through the station, and then there's the, what was my technical
Slower.
term? The slowerer.
Slower.
And Berhanu is clearly the former and not the latter, because he just motored out of the bottle station and has now created about that's a good gap all of a sudden. It's a 15-foot gap. This is a smart move by him, because I think what was happening is what this race was lining up to be on the men's side until this moment was it was lining up to be a sit and kick type race. This was falling into John Career's kind of, I think, what his pre-race playbook was, which is what he did last year. He waited until the top of Heartbreak, and then he crushed the rest of the field with a huge surge for a couple of kilometers and put a gap on everyone, and then kind of held on to win last year.
Well, maybe he's going to get some pressure put on a little earlier than expected.
I like this. I like Baranu's making this an honest race. He's challenging the field to keep pace with him and not allowing things to fall into Career or into your boy Kipruto's hands.
And Baranu's a bit of a dragon slayer, so he's had such a weird career. Came onto the scene in 2016. He was 21 years old.
Yep.
Won Boston and won Dubai, out of all places.
Yep.
And at the time, the dragon to slay was not quite yet Eliud Kipchoge, but Lelisa Desisa, one of the 3 athletes that Nike selected for their historic Breaking 2 project, widely regarded as one of the best marathoners in the world at the time, and also a Boston champ. He had already won. And Baranu, countryman of Desisa, fellow Ethiopian, 21 years old, comes in and beats the guy. And yeah, like I said, since then, hasn't really had the career that people expected. Now, it sounds like he's been around forever, but he's just 31 years old. I choose to believe that that's young because I'm almost 31. And his best time is 2:04.
It is young.
Yeah.
So I should note here, I did a deep dive on the history of it's about a 10-year history of super shoes at Boston at this point. There was some sneakiness by Nike in 2016, 2017, where they were putting the prototype was on people's feet in 2017. I remember I covered Breaking 2 in Italy, and I remember it was right before Breaking 2 was Boston, and there was this white chunky Nike shoe that a lot of their athletes were wearing, and that was a prototype of the super shoe. And Nike was just they had it on people's feet in 2016 as well at the U.S. Olympic trials and then the Olympics also, which is kind of crazy to think of. Lemmy Baranu was the last person to win the Boston Marathon in non-super shoes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Hence his time of 2:12, which these days sounds a bit more pedestrian.
Yeah. So he's only 31 years old. It wouldn't be out of the question for him to have another breakthrough here.
So, spotted on the course, Clayton Young high-fiving fans.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. I love that.
I mean, might as well stay positive, right?
Yeah.
The marathon is a very psychological, emotional experience.
Did he stop in Wellesley? No.
Yeah, exactly.
Where exactly was he slapping in?
Let's not start any rumors for old Clayton.
Clayton Young is he's a man of faith, of deep faith, and also his wife is super, and she's like his business partner. He's like his own brand, right? Yeah. And he's got his own YouTube channel. He does his own deals. He's his own agent. We talked about that before. And his wife, basically behind the scenes, is running the show with him. So, yeah, I don't think he's stopping it for a kiss on the Wellesley Scream Tunnel.
So, men's field and women's field, 2 quick developments. On the men's side, John Career is tired of Lemmy Baranu dominating the race. He's bridged the gap. Unsurprising.
Very smart move by him.
I think that's where he
It was
needs
time.
to be. Baranu is a good enough runner to command Career's fear and respect. And so Career now running next to him. On the women's side, Cody Clevin still running near the front next to, now I'm sounding smart, Dakota Popane looking great as they're getting to 15K. I mean, look, she's way better than people give her credit for, right? And I don't think one bad year necessarily defines you as a marathoner. In 2024, she was all guns blazing, and she's just entering her prime right now. So Cody Clevin on the other side of things, never heard of her before this race. So this is a very, very gutsy run by her. I don't know what shoes she's wearing.
You're like gonna squint and stare to try to figure out what shoes
what's
Cody
going
Clevin's
on
wearing
there?
because you're obsessed with that.
They're purple.
She is wearing Rabbit Kit as well. So shout out to the American brand, like the indie brand Rabbit. They're based in California.
Gee, well, is she wearing a rabbit shoe? I don't recognize the shoe.
My wife actually, like, one of the few pop-ups that she went out of her way to hit. You know, she's like, my wife's been running for a long time. I won't age date her, but she's been running since she was 8 years old, and she's done Boston 5-6 times. She's like a total like veteran pro. She's like, I get to the expo, I get my bib, I get the hell out of there, I get my on my feet. I don't walk around on Newbury, but she did go out of her way to go to Rabbit because they make really.
Did she get anything?
Yeah, she did. She spent quite a bit of money.
Alex, we have another name here that I am unfamiliar with. Isabel Bat Doyle.
Isabel Bat Doyle,
Yeah.
Michael's cousin.
I was going to
Cousin
say
Isabel.
cousin.
Yes, we share the same running genes. Yeah.
Another unfamiliar name for me
Yes.
on that list.
Australian runner.
Okay.
A 2:22 personal best coming from
Oh, wow.
Valencia 2024.
All
so
right, so
a little
fast.
bit more on the radar than Katelyn, but still not my first choice to win the race. We're learning a little bit more about Katelyn, so shout out to her comment section. This is starting to make sense. She trains in Ed Eyestone's group, so the famous,
There we go.
storied,
She's in
really good
Provo.
training group in Provo, Utah that features Connor Mance, Clayton Young, Jared Ward, the entire pack. And I think especially it mentioned that she's one of is it Mika Wood's training partners. So Adam
cool.
and Mika Wood,
Yeah.
the couple that is, yes, they have a YouTube channel. They're also both very, very fast
talented
athletes.
runners,
And good. Yeah. So shout out to Cody, man. This is a heck of a run so far.
And we should say on the men's side here, it's Lemmy Baranu and defending champion John Career like sessioning side by side right now. Interestingly, side by side and not one taking the lead. So they're pushing the pace. Mr. Career checking his watch.
I see Kip Bruto.
Kip
He's going to
Bruto
make
is
a
making
move. He's
in
going
the
to make a
distance.
move.
He's trying to close this gap because, I mean, Kip Bruto's a wily character. He's been running majors, for years and has won a whole bunch of them. So he knows this is a gut check moment.
Yep.
We're, an hour
Speaking
and
of
a
gut
half or
checks.
so into this race, an hour and 7 minutes into this race. And it's like time to be very, very careful because Career and Lemmy Baranu could run away with the men's race if we're not careful.
Yeah, what a look back from Lemmy Baranu. Like there's such a thing as a shoulder check. You take like a split second. This was a whole neck spin. He was like looking way back behind him. And so I'm wondering if he's regretting this early move. I see Alphonse Simbu looking to bridge this gap. Man, the men's field is just completely torn up right now.
Yeah, it's getting stretched out. It's always a tell when you're watching the race and you see them going from a clumped chase pack to a single file chase pack. And it's getting real. Rory Linkletter there in the distance. He's trying to keep pace. He's doing a lot of work. You can see his arm carriage. He's like really moving pretty hard
yeah,
right
he
now.
sure is.
But that's kind of the Rory stride.
Looks
though,
like
right?
he's
very
working hard.
flashy with his-
Strider, yeah.
Yeah.
I like runners that look like they're working hard, like you, Alex Cyr.
Well, yeah.
You always look like you're working hard.
A volunteer from the BAA did tell me after the Pro 5K, she said, you looked like you were working harder than everybody else. I was like, well,
I guess
maybe.
that's a compliment.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Hey,
is.
fifth last doesn't happen on its own.
We should say in the men's race, there has been a development where John Career and Lemmy Baranu, who were leading had created a nice little gap, have been swallowed back up again by a group of about 6-8 athletes, including Zuhair Talbi of the U.S. and a couple of others. So I think that little mini surge, it was like a test to see
Who would go with them?
and who could and if they could get away from the pack, and
Right.
they've not been able to. So
Unsuccessful.
yeah. Whereas on the women's side, it's still a lead pack of a good sized group, and no one has broken away. I should say Susanna Sullivan, who was our who defined the first 15 kilometers of this race, had fallen back a little bit, so she's no longer setting the tone.
Maybe about 10 seconds or so.
All right, we got Zuhair. Is that Zuhair Talbi leading now on the men's side?
Yeah, that is not so much a surprise to me. So again, Zuhair Talbi has been dominant in the races that he's run. He just lost to Adrian Wilskut at the New York City half, yes, but he won the Houston Marathon earlier this year, running super well with ASICS, now on YouTube, now an American citizen. I feel like 2026 so far has been a very Zuhair year, and I think that he's got something faster than his best of 2:05.
205 is really good.
It is really good, but I'm kind of surprised at the men's race so far. We've seen a few different candidates trying to dictate the pace. Benson Kipruto, not one of them. Happy to be running just near the leaders, but not necessarily in the lead.
Yeah, I would imagine that someone like Benson Kipruto is pretty happy that John Career did not escape the pack and
He's
has
not
been
quite yet.
reeled back in because otherwise he was going to have to do quite a bit of work on his own to close that gap.
So we're getting
some comments about my Boston accent.
I didn't want to say. I don't know.
I was
They
going to
wanna say
say,
it.
it's like the more time
they say
Katelyn
it's getting
spends
stronger.
in her hometown, the more it sort of seeps back in.
I love it. Oh, and thank you for the shout out about my Boston story last year and my mom. Thanks. That's real special.
Okay, so on the women's side here, we have, again, it's like 8 across.
Yep.
Dakota Popane is one of the, let's say, 4 women leading the race concurrently.
Yep.
We've got Clevin and
Frisbee.
and also Annie Frisbee, who we've not spoken
We
about.
haven't
yet.
mentioned her.
We should shout her out. So
Yeah.
her personal best actually comes from Boston last year. She ran 2:23 and was 8th overall. So it finished one rung below Jess McLean. At one point, she was putting a massive bid in to be the top American and came into Boston a relative unknown. I think there was like a cousin of hers that kept flooding our comment section, being
There
like,
was, actually.
"Whoa,
That's
Annie,
right.
she's actually good at running." I was like, well, "What is going on?"
Yeah, it was really weird. Yeah, like a commenter in one of our live streams was Annie Frisbee's cousin.
Yeah, I was like, "Wow, I knew you were running Boston. I didn't know you were that good."
Yeah, it's like their cousin
She
was
was like-
discovering that her cousin was a good runner. It was
And
weird.
since then, so New York City Marathon, she finished 5th. You know what? She's a rising star. I don't think we acknowledge that enough. She kind of came out of nowhere next year.
She's
or
someone who's
last
been
year.
on the scene. She's been on someone who's been on the scene sort of low key for the last few years, but had a very solid 2025. Pivoting quickly to the men's side for a second, we're getting our first opportunity to talk a little bit about Ethiopia's Milkesa Mengesha,
Aha.
who is on paper. Was he third? I'm not looking at the list right now. But I think he's about third fastest on our start list, and is somebody who he won Berlin a couple of years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And a Boston Marathon win obviously is big for anybody, but for a relatively young athlete like Mengesha, could be a big breakthrough performance for him. So he just pulled to the front a few seconds ago.
Yeah.
He hadn't really gotten any TV time until now.
No, well, he was a late addition to the field. I'm not sure why. I was looking at his shoes. He's got these bright yellow shoes, which indicates to me that I think he's wearing the Adidas Pro 4. So no Pro Evo 3s on his
He is
feet,
an
I don't
Adidas
think.
athlete. Yeah.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, I talked to a couple of different Adidas athletes on Friday, and not all of them, but most of them favor the Pro 4 over the Pro Evo. So the Pro Evo is the crazy expensive, super exclusive $500 super duper shoe. We keep trying to convince the world to use the term hyper shoe. It's not really sticking, but like the sort of bleeding edge tech shoe from Adidas. But many of their top athletes for the hillier courses like Boston and New York choose the Adidas Pro 4, the Adios Pro 4 instead, which is a little more affordable. It's a $300 shoe. It's a little bit more ubiquitous. It's sort of positioned as like the every person's super shoe. So I don't know. I guess the
I'd
Pro
love to
4
ask
is a
them
little
why. Why
I think
they-
it's got a little bit. I think the foam is a little sturdier.
Okay.
So
A little more stable then?
a little more
For the-
stable. When
okay.
you're going up and down
Yeah.
these hills, it's a little bit easier on your feet. I think the Pro Evo, the Light Strike Pro foam, the way they tune it, it's a little softer in the Pro Evo. So that would be my guess.
I could see that, wanting a little more stability when you're doing a lot of downhill.
Yeah. They the broadcast right now has Chelsea Clinton on.
Oh, that's
'cause
right. I
she's
saw
running.
she was on the list. Right.
Right.
So like
Yep.
Bill Clinton's daughter.
rando famous people that are running Boston that we know of. Chelsea Clinton, I believe she qualified legitimately, I believe, in New York, if I'm not mistaken. She's been a runner for many, many years. So she's run a bunch of marathons.
Also, Suni Williams.
Yeah, the Suni
astronaut.
Williams story, the astronaut.
Right, because she
Yeah.
ran the Boston Marathon in space when she was in space.
And she's receiving the Patriots Award today.
That's cool.
Would you be faster in space because you're carrying less of your weight, like without gravity? It's like an anti-gravity
I do
treadmill.
know that she was, tied down. She was while she was running
Yeah,
this.
so
Okay, another one that the broadcast showing Zdeno Chara, the Boston
Bruins,
great,
right? Yep.
defenseman. Is he a Hall of Famer? He's got to be a Hall of Famer at this
I
point.
think he's been inducted quite quickly, actually.
And he's turning into like a celebrity marathoning Hall of Famer too, because the guy's what, 6'7",
6'9".
6'9".
Yeah, you're
And
spending too
he's-
much time with your kid.
And he's wow. I just hope that dies. And he's run low. He's like low threes now for a marathon. So he's like a very serious runner. Another weird pull, if you were like looking for weird people to follow in the results, is Mark Zuckerberg's sister Randy, who's like a total running nerd. She's running. Very strange.
Yeah. She likes our Instagram posts.
Yeah.
Shout
very,
out to
very. Running's a big small world.
She likes our posts that we post on her brother's platforms. Like, what?
Yeah, there you
Really
go.
weird.
Okay, so I want to do a little update as to where things are at let's talk women's race because it's on screen right now.
Women's race, we're getting close to half. And Annie Frisbee, she heard me because she was the first one to cross the 20K mark. Dakota Popane next to her. But bigger picture, there's like 16 athletes in that lead pack. And so many Americans, right? Sisson, Amanda Vestry, Sarah Hall, Jess McLean. And then we have a couple of our early suspects. So Loketti, Irene Cheptai. You know what's funny is if Benson Caputo hasn't really put his imprint on the men's race, same deal with Cheptai and Loketti. There was a version of this race where they would just take control from the start and leave everyone in their dust. There doesn't seem to be
It's not
any
her
interest in
style,
doing
though.
that.
It's
No,
not
I don't
Loketti's
think
style.
so.
No.
Yeah.
And you'll notice here where Loketti is in the race and in the lead pack. She's the Eliud Kipchoge of this
She's tucked
race.
in.
She's tucked right
She's
in the
so
middle.
smart.
There's
Yep.
a lot of deference and respect, and she's being very patient. You know, she knows how to win this race, obviously, and I think she's probably in the smartest spot right now, as long as she doesn't get clipped.
I love Popane's outfit. This is my color. This is like what I want to be wearing in my next marathon.
Loud.
Look at that pink. Yeah.
So Mary Noguchi Cooper,
Yeah.
someone that we haven't mentioned quite yet. I think she is wearing what will be the Alpha Fly 4. She's one of the fastest athletes in the field. She's run 2:19 last fall in Chicago. And get this, she's placed in the top 10 at Boston 5 different times.
So she knows how to run it.
Right.
knows how to run the
She's
course.
experienced.
And we should say on the men's side, we've got like a pretty good breakaway now.
Whoa.
And we're in your hometown.
Yep.
We're
We're
in-
in Newton.
We're in Newton.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a big gap now all of a sudden
Hey.
that's formed here. So Newton has the big sort of final downhill, and then you hang a right
Right at the fire
at
station.
the fire station, and then you hit the hills.
Yep. And then you're on the hills on
And
Comm
that's
Ave.
when this race starts to get real.
That's when it really starts.
It's where you discover like how much damage or not the downhills
You already
have
did to
done
yourself.
on your legs in the first 25K.
So
30K.
That's right.
What's going on in the minds of this chase pack? Do they think Milkesha Mengesha here is legit?
They should, because he's run 2:03 before.
Yeah.
However, he's done it on a very flat course.
And they're really letting him go. I think what happens is that still now at this point in the race, Courier and Caputo make the decision for everyone else. If you're an athlete like, say, Rory Linkletter, and you're still running in the pack with Courier, you know that you don't have to go all that much faster.
Right.
You might
You
even
stay
think
there.
that that's the best strategy to employ.
I agree.
If you're Rory Linkletter or any of the American runners in the race, or you're Henrik Pfeiffer, of
anybody
Germany,
else.
you're very happy if the defending champion is in your midst, because
Right. I'd
that
stay
means you
there.
don't have to work any harder than that, and you just have faith that these athletes will make the move, later and not now.
Yeah, and things are getting faster on the men's side of things now. They've crossed the 25K mark, and I'd say there are still let's call it 10 athletes who are within striking distance. Let's give it to Clayton Young and put it at 11. So there are a few athletes who are 3-4 seconds separated from each other, but it's Mengesha, Berhanu, Tebello Ramakongoana, which we haven't talked about. We'll look him up a little bit. He's also was not on our radar. Zuhair Talbi, John Corrier, Benson Caputo, Ryan Ford, Alphonse Felix Simbu, the world champ, Charles Hicks. We also should give a shout out to a young American
track guy, right?
Yeah, and relatively new to the marathon. Rory Linkletter, Clayton Young, and rounding it out in 12, Haile Mariam Kiros. Michael's. It's your dark horse pick or your all out pick?
I doubled down. I decided to put all my money on Kiros overall. He's
How's
10
that working
seconds
out
back
for you?
Okay, he's still in the mix.
He's still around.
Listen, a lot changes in the Newton Hills.
Exactly.
Right? So
let's see what happens over these next 15, 20 minutes.
So in Newton, there's the Newton Hills, the famous Heartbreak Hill is the ultimate hill.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say that if you've run Boston before, Heartbreak is almost anticlimactic by the time you get to it. The first time I ever ran Boston, I remember asking someone on the side of the road, when's Heartbreak? And the person said, you just finished running it. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is a good sign. But it's not as dramatic. I think it's got this sort of outsized reputation, mainly because of the fact that you have to run through 4 total hills that comprise the Newton Hills, and just collectively they batter you. But Heartbreak itself is not too overwhelming. I
also think it's where the hills are. This is why they become such a stress for everyone. And it's not that the hills themselves are so difficult. It's that where they come within the race. So you're mile 17, and now you have to run these hills after bashing your legs after the downhill. I think that's more of the scare, right?
And Mengesha is looking pretty good right now. He's starting to go through the hilly section here, and his eyes are a little down there for a second. You always want to be looking forward at what you're running towards.
Really? I tend to look down when I go uphill. Maybe I should stop doing that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, my eyes are like his. I'm kind of looking like slightly forward, slightly down.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to... giving advice to the 203 guy leading the Boston Marathon right now, but what do I know?
And let's not forget that when you have hills, these 4 hills, you also have the downhill on the other side.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going straight up for this entire stretch. So you have to take advantage of those as well, and kind of let yourself loose when you're on those downhills and recuperate a little bit, recover.
The key to Jeffrey Mutai in 2011, there was a couple of keys to his course record, and which was far and away the best performance ever in Boston, although a whole group of runners, including Ryan Hall in 2011, ran incredibly fast. And the one major key was conditions. There was a incredible, perfectly angled tailwind. So the Boston course it goes west to east. You run into the city, and it's a slight sort of southwest to northeast angle. So if you get that perfect tailwind, it's super duper fast. Today does have a little bit of a cross westerly wind, and it's also fairly cool. Sometimes Boston can get kind of unseasonably hot. It's like Boston often, it was the case last year, amazing afternoon to be having an adult beverage on the patio after the race is done, but not so amazing for running the final 10 kilometers of a marathon. And it's usually hot. It is sunny today, but the weather is very cool. So when Jeffrey Mutai ran that 2:03:09, I think was the number.
Yep.
It was kind of a confluence of perfect conditions and a very fast field. Curious to see if Mengesha can get out of the Newton Hills and turn on the jets and run the last 9 kilometers of this race with equal intensity. So
Mengesha, looking good for Nike, wearing his Alpha Fly likely 4 is what they're going to be called. Yeah, so I looked this up because Mengesha historically had been an Adidas guy.
I was going to say, he was an Adidas athlete up until very recently.
But then looking at his feet, it's like those are at first I was like, are those what the Evos are looking like on people's feet? No, those are the new Nike shoes. He's a Nike athlete now.
So let's talk a little bit about the worst kept secret in the shoe game.
Yeah.
Which is the Nike Alpha Fly 4. It's the shoe that I feel like has been worn by elites and teased for like a year now. So technically on paper, the only shoe the two super shoes that are available from Nike are the Vaporfly 4, which is an okay super shoe. It's more affordable. It's more durable. It's
less aggressive.
It's less aggressive. I think it's the most comfortable super shoe on the market,
Yeah,
but it's
that's
not
true.
super fast.
Yep.
And then they've had the Alpha Fly 3 seemingly forever. That was the shoe that both men's and women's world records were run on, but it's been out since 2023, technically speaking. Am I right on that one?
Yeah. Fall 2023 is when we
So
first started seeing the
that's
Alpha Fly 3.
that's forever in super shoe age, right?
Yeah.
So they've had the Alpha Fly 4, which they were calling the Alpha Fly prototype last fall. We talked to quite a few athletes who'd worn it they have varying feedback on it, but ultimately it's foam's a little bit different, a little bit more powerful. 4-foot's a little bit wider, and it's just sort of like, it seems like it's more of a tweak on the Alpha Fly 3 than a totally new shoe.
Yeah, and I was expecting a hyper shoe, like we mentioned, right? These shoes that throw away durability for pure speed, which is what I think the Pro Evo 3 is ended up being. But Nike doesn't seem to be there yet. So our prediction is that, at least I think Nike's going to release something completely different from the Alpha Fly. But at the same time, the athletes who wear Nike tend to be some of the top athletes in the world. And if Nike wins major races like that, you come to think, dude, does there need to be an improved version of the Alpha Fly 4? Anyway, for now, it's looking good on the men's side of things. I'm trying to get a look at what John Carrera might be wearing, because I know that ASICS also has some prototypes in the wild. So what's going to come next from ASICS is going to be these two shoes. So keeping pace with the Metaspeed Edge and Sky, two different shoes for two slightly different types of runners at different foot strikes. It's going to be something coming that I think seems a little bit more cushioned, a bit lighter, a bit better. So I'm guessing that Carrera's wearing one of those two different shoes, because I don't think that it's the Metaspeed Ray. It looked a little bit chunkier. Hard to say.
Let's do a quick snapshot of the men's race, and we'll move over and talk about the women's race a bit here. So we've got Mengesha of Ethiopia. He's out front. He's got a bit of a gap going through the Newton Hills, and then there's a small chase pack of the top dogs in the race.
Yeah.
Have formulated behind him.
It's getting real.
Hunting and includes John Carrera and Benson Kipruto. If I'm on my own through the Newton Hills leading the Boston Marathon, what a weird fantasy that is. But if I were on my own, I don't know if I'd want John Carrera and Benson Kipruto winding up
Hunting
behind
me down.
Two past champions, the defending champion and a past champion. Really interesting to see how the next few kilometers of the race unfold. There, we should note Zuhair Talbi of the U.S. is in that chase group.
And so is Alphonse Felix Simbu, the reigning world champion, who's looking really strong.
You know what I was noticing just watching the men right now is that they're really being careful about what seems to be running the tangents. Do you see the way that they're crossing the street and they're really hugging those curves? And I don't see the women doing the same thing because they're in such a big pack that they can't take advantage of that as well as the men are doing it. It's very clear to see those strategies.
You cross the finish line. Doesn't matter if you're an elite or back of the pack. You cross the finish line, you stop your watch and you look on it and it says 26.8 miles or whatever. And you're like, the course can't be right. It's like, no, that's on you. That's not on the course. You just didn't run the tangents.
There's hundreds of meters up for grabs if
Of
you're
course.
actually thinking about how you're running.
So let's talk women's side.
Yep.
Yeah. So we just hit the halfway mark for the women. 1:11:02 splits the lead pack. So 16 women on pace to run 2:22. So same thing. This is like the American race. So we said this for weeks before the Boston Marathon, that it might be the strongest American women's field ever. And right now, they're delivering. This isn't necessarily a time trial race. I think they're going to be far away from what Sharon Lokedi ran last year when she set the record at 2:17. But this is a tactical race. This is going to make for really good TV near the end. Whereas on the men's side of things,
it's going to make for good TV, but in a different way.
Yeah.
We've got a leader alone out front which is the most exciting and probably the most terrifying place to be in a marathon.
Yep.
In Milkesha Mingesha. And then we've got a group of 4 guys chasing him up the hills here. We've got John Career, who seems to be making a really spirited move right now, and he's checking his watch, and we just had a head check back.
The head, yep, there we go.
Like
Checking back.
Do you ever look in a race? Do you ever look behind you?
I
Do you
don't.
ever look back?
I
Never
never
when
do.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
No,
I never look
exactly.
back.
Yeah, so the head check, we got one of those from Nkesha. And John Career is checking his watch like, is now the time? Is
Right.
now the time that I go?
When do I make my move?
And then you got Benson Kipruto. He's in that violet Adidas vest, total kit. Same outfit he wore in New York, which you think, you go like you think the brand would go for a refresh, a new look, a new colorway.
Maybe
for
it's
every
good luck.
season. Maybe he's just like,
Yeah.
I like that one better.
Yeah, I
won
like
the New
this
York
one.
City
I won.
Marathon. Yeah.
It's good luck. Just an update that who was leading the women's race for such a long time, Susanna Sullivan, has now fallen over a minute behind the lead pack.
Man, I
Yeah.
love Susanna
Yeah.
Sullivan's grind. She just runs at the front.
I love
and
that
then
aggressive attitude. It's
stays
fantastic.
there until she can't.
That's right.
Holding your hand to the flame and
Yep.
seeing
Yeah,
if- how long you can keep it there before pulling away.
So, this time, I'm thinking of the expo that we saw with Ashley Paulson, the treadmill runner who ran about 100 miles on a treadmill, only stopping to go to the bathroom about 2 to 3 times. And I think it's the time for me to tell both of you that I'm not Ashley Paulson. I'll be right back.
Okay, we'll vamp here. Alex has got the bladder of a mouse. So we've got an exchange in the lead here on the men's side here. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the guy who was checking his watch a few seconds ago as if like maybe he got a notification on his phone from his coach. Like, yeah, now's the
It's
time
go
to go.
time.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
go time, John.
He just took over. He overtook Mingesha. So we've got a lead change, a very clear and important lead change. It might be the defining moment of this race. We're going to see.
Come on, Kipruto. I see you there.
Yeah, Benson Kipruto is making an effort here to keep pace, but John Career has now taken the lead in the Boston Marathon. He's looking to defend last year's title. We should note something to keep an eye on, and I'm sure John Career has been thinking about this for a year. But a year ago, when he took the lead, he made this big effort right in the Newton Hills. And then he got into the final 9K and he started to kind of run out of gas in the last 5K. So he did, so he is human, and be really curious to see here if he's able to hold on and keep this intensity level, and that really, it's actually a remarkably gentle final 9K of this course once you get through the Newton Hills.
Got a bit of a downhill.
The problem is your legs are trash by the time you get there. So it's going to be a very, very interesting moment here in the next couple of kilometers. We're going to get a very good understanding of where everyone lies. If also always interesting to see when a leader who's been in front for so long gets past, how they respond, whether they just get swallowed up,
Right.
or if they're able to.
Or if they're able to fight a little bit.
It's really hard to do.
Yeah.
that.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what
I'm
you
gonna
missed
go
in your
pee
20
for 45
seconds
seconds and
in
the
the
lead,
bathroom.
the
That's
leader
right.
changed?
That's right.
Oh my
And
God.
John Career is out front.
Okay.
And making a pretty big effort right now. It's like basically textbook. It's exactly what happened last year. This is exactly how it played out last year.
Wow. So basically swapped places with Milkesha and Gessa. Okay. So, yep.
And then we got a nice shot here. You don't often get this when you get marathon coverage of 2 motos covering the lead group. So you get kind of like, because it's hard to tell perspective, right? When you're watching a live stream, because they're using a telephoto lens, it kind of crushes the depth of field. So the chase pack looks closer than they actually are. So like the gap there is what? It's like 50 feet at this point.
You look at a landmark and then you count backwards. So.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got Benson Kipruto leading the chase group here, trying to close the gap on John Career. So there's a big move happening right now. As you can see, there's like a little bit of a sense of panic or urgency that's unfolding here because Career is getting away.
And I don't want to talk too quickly because we still have 6 miles, but this might be a big jump to legitimacy for Zuhair Talbi because you have major marathon champions, world champions, and then Talbi running in 4th. I think Mingesha's getting dropped. And right now it looks like it's a fight to the podium for Career, Kipruto, Simbu, and Talby.
Yeah, I think there'll be some interesting placement shifts here in the next 6 miles, and then in the final 10K of this race, because it's really getting strung out and the intensity levels ratcheted up. Shout out to Zuhair Talby. I forgot this about him until I saw him on screen a second ago. It's one of my people. He wears glasses while running. One of the few marathon runners that doesn't go contacts.
Mm-hmm.
I feel seen. I feel, no pun intended, I
Yes.
feel represented. I feel represented in the elite field. You don't see many guys running, or many runners at all, running with glasses in the elite field.
No.
So,
Also, like, again, don't want to be too early with this, but a few Americans and Canadians are putting a massive bid in for a huge performance. So Charles Hicks, on pace to be the second American, given that Talby's a recent American too. Hicks is a British American. He's a dual citizen. He's a 24-year-old who's pretty much fresh out of the NCAA. He's a cross-country champion. He's a European U23 cross-country champion twice. So he's a bit of a grinder, but very new to the marathon. Right now, he's on pace to drop a 2:03:39. That would be a ridiculous
that's
time.
wild. Even that's really impressive this late in the race. I mean, hopefully he doesn't have the experience so many do in Boston, which is like you run the race of your life until 32K, and then all of a sudden
Then
everything
blow
goes
up.
absolutely sideways.
Here's someone else who has a chance of doing that. Rory Linkletter, currently running in 11th place, on pace to finish in 2:04:10. That would beat his personal
massive
best by
breakthrough.
2 minutes. It would be the fastest time ever run by a Canadian. Wouldn't necessarily count because it's on the Boston course, which is point to point.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I think
That
still
lives
be
you
thrilled.
forever. In a way, there's an argument to be made that your Boston performance is more impressive than a flat course performance, just because of how difficult the course is.
Yep.
And I mean, just overall, very few people of any ability level have a faster Boston time than they do their overall PR.
It always impresses me when they do.
Yeah.
When you have your
the
PR in
PR,
Boston.
yeah.
Yeah, when you have your
Yeah.
that Boston PR. It's
Same-
impressive.
Yeah, same deal with Clayton Young, right on pace for a 2:04:23.
All
I'm
right.
pretty convinced that this year is a fast Boston.
So let's talk women's race for a second here, because we're starting to get a little bit of a development here. We've had such a tight lead group for so long, but now we're getting a totally fascinating, exciting breakaway here. Katelyn and Annie Frisbee side by side are putting in a surge, and the lead pack seem to be responding, but there's a gap. There's sunlight between the two groups now.
Guys, this is like...
This was unexpected.
I would not have guessed either of them to be at the front, let alone near the front. So, Katelyn, Frisbee, is this like a new era of American distance running, or again, are we just talking too fast?
We're going to find out pretty soon. They're going to be
25K.
coming up on 30K at some point
they're in the
soon.
Newton Hills right
they're in the
now
Newton
as
Hills.
well. So we'll see some changes here, I'm imagining. And I don't, I'm trying to stay positive here for Annie Frisbee because I'm a fan, but like there's a group of absolute killers sort of looming just behind her. So including the top runners in the race, the runners who've run in the 2:17 range. So we'll see how this plays out in the next couple of kilometers, but it's an interesting moment.
It is. And I mean, yes, Sharon Lokedi is on pace to run 5 minutes slower than last year when, by all intents and purposes, she's probably in the same type of fitness. So it's possible that she's just jogging right now and she's playing with the field, same as Irene Cheptai and Ngugi Cooper. But like, this is a cool picture for Annie Frisbee here.
I mean, that'll live with you for the rest of your life, whether or not. I mean, it is definitely, if you're going to have a breakthrough, you have to take. This is like what by the way, Jess McLean's still in that chase pack.
Yep.
But what like Jess McLean said on Friday, she's like, take big risks and then dig in. And, you know, it's the only way you're going to have a big breakthrough like this. So Annie Frisbee's doing that right now, and I would say Jess McLean's doing that as well, because she's right there. If you want a podium, you've got to take these risks.
People in the comments are Googling Cody Clevin.
They're getting more info
Fair
for
enough.
us. Thank
We
you
were
very
as well.
much.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, and on the men's side, if anything, things are just looking better and better for John Courier.
He's just out there on his own at this point. Do you guys think that there's a chance that the chase pack will catch up?
There's a chance.
There's a chance.
We should note,
Although-
we should note that, and I talked about it a minute ago, that John Courier his worst split in the race last year was the last 5K. So and he did fade quite a bit. And our colleague Koske actually caught a really cool picture of him on Boylston with a couple hundred meters to go doing the look back. He like a full body look back.
He was worried because he had slowed down.
Yeah.
So we have a 35K split, and it is looking good for John Courier. He's put almost 30 seconds, 26 seconds on Benson Caputo and Alphonse Felix Simbu, who are running in second and third place. That looks like your early favorite for the podium. Haile Mariam Kiros, Michael's boy, running in fourth right now, 40 seconds behind Courier. Talby just behind Kiros. Tabello Ramakongoana in sixth place. Milkesha Mengesha falling to seventh, and Nicholas Kip Courier rounding top 8. So,
and we should do a little check-in here. Any Frisbee still out front, still holding. It's a tight gap. It's maybe 10, 15 feet, 20, maybe 20 feet. We've got Sharon Lucchetti. We've got Irene Cheptai. She's wearing the yellow vest and the blue shorts on your screen to the right if you're watching the live stream. And then we've got Jess McLean as well, right in it and looking pretty good, looking like she's capable of. You're always looking at this point here, trying to understand if which of these athletes is capable of matching a move, right? If of course, like Cheptai or Odessa, or of course Lucchetti decides to make a power move here and surge, which of these athletes are capable of changing gears and capable of going from purely aerobic, running below threshold pace to a supra maximal pace to running VO2 for, a couple hundred meters to match that surge. And it looks like Jess McLean, understanding how she runs, her style, having seen her run quite a few races, she's looking pretty controlled right now.
That's what those progression runs are for, guys, in training.
Yeah.
Got to step it up at the end. See who has that speed endurance, as they call it, to finish strong.
Hey, 17 miles. I really like where she is. I think she is clocking or trying to shadow Sharon Lucchetti. I think Frisbee's going to merge back into that lead pack soon. But look at Frisbee running. She looks quite comfortable.
Very controlled.
I think last year she was basically holding on for dear life and breaking through to somewhere that she hadn't before.
Is Emily Sisson is trailing in the distance there? I think she's struggling to hang on. She's fallen off the lead group, or I guess you call it sort of like the loose chase group here behind Annie Frisbee, who has got about maybe a 12-foot lead at this point.
It's
so I don't
very
think
slight.
she's not escaping this group.
No, she's not.
Yeah, so this is a tough one for Emily Sisson right now.
I mean, okay, so a check-in here. Cody Clevin, who we've been talking a lot about for the first time ever, is still in this lead group. It's a group of about 10, I would say, overall. And then there is a chase group who are falling off of the lead group.
Yeah.
Who are slipping behind. That includes Emily Sisson. Dakota Popane is at the back of the lead group. She looks like she's struggling to hang on at this point. And, of course, we've got Sharon Lucchetti. We've got Irene Cheptai. We've got Orkanesh Odessa. So all the top 3 contenders, the top 3 seed times coming in are still there.
Yeah, so I'm liking Jess McLean's chances at reaching the podium. I think that's always a story. In recent years, can an American land on the podium? And that's something that's very difficult to do. I think it's wide open on the women's side of things. I think Sharon Luchetti's tough to beat. I think Irene Cheptai is a very good shoe-in for second place. But after that...
Yeah, it's really going to be open to the rest of this pack.
We just always thought that Emily Sisson would be the one to finish third.
But remember, this is her first Boston as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not going poorly right now because she's still in view and she's still there's still potential
Of
there,
course.
but I'm sure she'd prefer to be comfortable and up in the lead group right now. So yeah, I think we're going to see a race where the best miler, the best track speed is going to win this thing, I would say. And that kind of falls into the favor of Sharon Lokedi.
No, Lokedi's just a really
I'm just
good
waiting for
finisher
her to
these
make her
races.
move.
Yeah.
Okay, Bets, when is she going to do it? What kilometer?
Bets, when is she going to do it?
Yep.
35.
35?
35.
That's pretty late.
Yeah, that is late.
Yeah.
But I think that she has that confidence. I think that could definitely be.
I think she was watching tape from last year, and she's not going to have to face someone like Helen Obiri this time around. So I think she goes at the top of Heartbreak.
Men's side, I think we can start to talk about record watch.
Really?
Oh,
You're right.
okay.
John Kerr is
yeah.
on pace to run a 2:02:35 at 23 miles. He's got
Wow.
3 miles to go, and he's got 30 seconds plus on Jeffrey Mutai's Boston record.
So that would put him in an interesting subcategory of men's marathon runner. That would mean that he has run 2:02 3 times. So he's run 2:02 in Chicago when he won in 2024, and he's run 2:02 in Valencia when he won in December of last year. So that would be this would be the third 2:02 from him, and I would argue the most impressive 2:02, because running 2:02 in Boston is very different than Chicago and Valencia, which are just basically flat time trial courses.
Also, he just threw down his fastest mile of the race, mile 22, 4:25.
Even faster than the first
think that's
mile. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's faster than the fastest mile I've ever run.
Period.
Deep into a marathon.
Wow.
Okay, sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now they're at mile by mile splits on the men's side, so you know that it's getting close. So 23
Getting
miles.
close to the end.
Kipruto and Simbu are still neck and neck.
I'm curious to see. Simbu is like, he doesn't get. I don't think Simbu gets. So he's a Tanzanian runner. You're marrying a Tanzanian, so you've got like that. So your partner's family. I know in the World Championships last year, your partner's family were like glued to the live stream of the World Championship marathon and freaking out when he won.
Well, yeah. Well, it was him versus Amanal Petros of Germany, and everyone was going for Simbu, and somehow he just pulled like a wicked sprint in the last 10 meters to nab gold. And I was like, man, this guy's a gamer. He's a winner.
He's somebody who's been on the scene for a long time, and he's always kind of like in the top 5, top 10 in World Marathon majors.
Even last year in Boston as well.
Exactly. And his win at the World Championships in the final moments in that marathon was the craziest photo finish I have ever seen. If you've not watched it,
Look it up.
watch the clip on
Yeah.
YouTube. I actually don't physically understand how he did it. It doesn't make sense. I kind of believe that time is a flat circle, because I'm not sure how he like folded the space-time continuum to finish first, but he did. So
He did. So Americans are coming through 23 miles, and on the men's side, the American race is shaping up to be somewhat surprising. So your regular contenders, Clayton Young, Ryan Ford, even Rory Linkletter, let's put the Canadian in there too, now have dropped a 2:05 pace. So this really hot pace off the start, I think, is hurting everyone except for Zuhair Talbi and Charles Hicks. So Hicks, the young, new, fresh marathoner who Nike did a whole YouTube series about leading up to this, to which I was like, what's the hype on this guy? I've barely ever heard of him. He's so young. He's born in 2001, which makes me feel young, and you guys probably feel ancient, is at 2:04:21 pace at 23 miles. That would be a heck of a run for Mr. Hicks.
Well, Nike, they know things, right?
They do know
So
things.
They
know how
things.
to, you know what they know how to piss off a bunch of runners, and they know how to get people talking about them.
Weirdly, biggest story of the weekend in Boston pre-race was that billboard that they put up at their shop at the Nike store on Newbury Street. That was basically, what did it say?
Runners welcome, walkers tolerated, or something
That's
like
right.
that.
Yes, exactly.
That caused quite an uproar.
Everyone lost their bloody minds, and there was a pylon, and then there was a pylon on the pylon, the reaction to the pylon, and now we're seeing very quick guerrilla marketing from the likes of what was ASICS, even Crocs put it
man.
out. Friggin' Crocs put a billboard out today.
Ultra as well, I think.
Ultra, the Utah-based zero drop brand.
And let's not forget Capital Bank.
Well, I think that was an
Was
accident.
it Capital Bank?
No, that
It
wasn't.
was like everyone is welcome on the bank
welcome.
sign, but I think that was unrelated to the
Yeah.
Nike thing.
Whatever happened to what's in your wallet? Can't they
Yeah,
just stay in their lanes?
Exactly.
I
Okay.
have the 30K split that has
right.
now come up for the on the women's side. So there's still 9 strong in that front pack. Jess McLean clocks in as in first place. Sharon Lochetti, Mercy Cheligat, Annie Frisbee, Mary Nguye Cooper, Irene Cheptai. I'm saying Spanish, don't know why. So we've got, sorry, reading
flexing
it
the
incorrectly.
Spanish.
So we've got 9 strong in that first pack, but then number 10 is only about less than 10, well, about 12 seconds behind.
So again, this is a tale of 2 very different races.
Yep.
On the men's side, we've got John Career clearly running away with it, barring some sort of massive error of judgment in his pacing. He should be able to hang on to win back-to-back Boston Marathon titles.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the flip side, the women's race, it kind of feels like anyone's race.
We don't know yet.
There's a group of 9 women in this lead group.
Yep.
There's no clear leader at this point. Annie Frisbee has been absorbed back into that group.
Mm-hmm.
The group includes all sorts of interesting characters of people that we anticipated and then those that we did not. You've got, of course, the defending champion, Sharon Loketti's in the mix. She's got to be a favorite. And you've also got Irene Cheptai and Worknesh Edessa, who are 2 of the top seed entry times. But then you've got American Annie Frisbee. You've got Jess McLean looking really good.
Yeah.
Cody Clevin is dropping.
He's fallen off.
Yeah, she's fallen off this pack. That sucks. But yeah, Annie Frisbee probably spent more time in the front than anyone in this race so far. But
Other than Susanna Sullivan
Look,
in the first
But
half.
we're getting a change here. We're getting the big shift. We're seeing coming out of the bottle station here. Again, the bottle station is a tactical spot, right?
I'll never forget the Sawway Marathon. I mean, it's just where people make their moves.
Good call. Yeah, last
remember
year
that
in
one
London.
last year in London. That
He-
was a huge move he made at the bottle station.
A filthy maneuver by him. It was like 30K. He goes into
Yep.
the bottle station at this turn in the London Marathon and just grabbed the bottle and like sprinted.
Yeah, he left everyone in his dust and never looked back.
all right, so this is the first time that we see Sharon Lochetti in the front, and I can just tell that the pace is changing. And Annie Frisbee looks to be the most comfortable American in this front pack. There's a bit of real estate growing between the lead pack and Jess McLean. I think we're going to have 7 or 8 athletes, and this is a crucial time for McLean. She's got to decide whether or not she wants to go with that pack.
So you were right. It was just between 35 and 36K, right around 36K. Sharon Lochetti is making her move. She's moved to the front. We'll see if this is a sustained move or if this is a move that is just testing that group or not. Tactically speaking, she could do this one of 2 ways. She could just try to front run and break everyone, which is definitely something she could pull off. But then, or maybe you think to yourself, you know what, I'm the best sprinter in this group. I know I can throw down a furious final mile.
Mm-hmm.
I'll test the group, see if I can shake a few of these athletes so it comes down to me and somebody else, and then wait for the final mile and win it that way again.
Little wrinkle and detail from the comments. Thank you for that. Apparently, Jess McLean dropped her bottle, stopped, picked it up. So
Yikes.
hence the little,
Oh, okay,
the
thank
little
you for
gap.
that.
So maybe she's going
Good
to,
eye.
Yeah.
We talked about this before earlier in the show, just how important nutrition and fueling is and how like obsessive these athletes are with it now and how it feels like the F1 analogy. It feels like if you don't get those correct tires on at the certain point in the race, you're going to have a failure. So like that's wild to think you're in the lead group at the Boston Marathon, 36 kilometers in the race. You drop a bottle and instead of just like leaving
Letting
it and
it go,
continuing,
Yeah.
right.
you go back and get it. That speaks to how important nutrition is for these athletes.
Yeah. Yeah. So someone in the comments says, Simbu said, John Courier, don't let your guard down. Simbu will let you do all the job and then outkick you in the final 400. I see you, Amanal Petros. I know it's you in the comments.
It's a Petro's burner account. I like that idea. I love the idea that the guy who's second place in the World Championships has got a burner account.
And he's just watching YouTube.
Lurking in the
Yeah.
comments.
He's like spiting Simbu from
Yeah.
the keyboard.
Yeah.
So 40K.
Yep.
John Courier. Ooh, pace 2:02:10. This guy's picking it
Whoa.
up so much. He's got a now 43-second lead on Benson
Caputo
Caputo and Simbu, who are still running neck and neck. Hey, this is big. We might witness a massive, like a minute shaved off the Boston record here.
And one of the great performances in terms of just time in marathon running history on the Boston course, which
Right.
hurts my brain to think about.
Geez, careers averaged 430 miles for the last 4 miles.
So this is cool. Last year, he really faded in the last 5K, and he barely hung on. And this time around, clearly he, it's like this is where like the elite race and on some level can kind of be abstractly relatable to anybody who runs. Like you make mistakes in a marathon and then you think about them for the next 6 months as you train for the next one. And clearly he's been thinking about that last 5K for a year now and has clearly done some work to fix the error of last year, so to speak.
Here's a little
Frisbee, a little a little bit behind the lead pack there. She's kind of fallen off a bit.
So swap, right, between Frisbee and McLean.
Yep.
Now it's McLean looking very comfortable inside of this tight pack of 8 athletes. Sharon Lokedi still in the middle, Ngugi Cooper, Cheptai. Okay, now we're really wondering to see if Jess McLean can improve on her finish of last year. She was top 8 last year. And you know what, Frisbee's doing a better job taking the tangent than anybody else.
We talked about this earlier. It's like choosing which line you're going to run. It's a wide, you got a wide 2 lanes. You got the whole road. You can do anything you want with it.
Yeah, she just caught right back up.
Yeah. There you go. Exactly.
She just caught right back up.
There we go. Someone in the
took the
comments.
shortcut.
That's amazing.
All.
Someone in the comments says, "I love the attitude, guys, but I cannot at all relate to Courier's performance here." Laugh.
Fair enough. Nor can I. But I very abstractly I can relate to him. Yeah. So the women's race, super fun, coming right down to the final kilometers. I don't think any of us were anticipating this mix of athletes and this tight a race. No one is really willing to take the risk.
The big move. Look at Frisbee.
Yeah, she's
right
really
back out front.
confidently.
Wow.
This is a hell of a race.
I am so impressed.
by Annie Frisbee.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now-
So Lokedi is in the front here, though.
Yep.
So she's in a really good spot for this late in the race. I was saying earlier how the best position, she was in the best position earlier in the race by sort of sitting in the pocket and not having to do any of the work herself. But when you're at this latest stage, you want to be the one controlling the pace. And also, if any other athlete decides to make a sudden surge, a sudden move, you're in position to match that move. Whereas, say somebody else like even Jess McLean, if there is a big surge from Lokedi right now, McLean is getting blocked by Annie Frisbee. So she's reliant on Frisbee to make a move as well, or she's going to have to swing around her, right? So
Who do you think makes a move here?
if I'm Irene Cheptai and I've got anything in me at all right now, I make the move because you don't want to leave it to the last mile with Sharon Lokedi.
No.
She has, like the last 3 years in a row at the Boston Marathon, put in devastating surges in the final mile. And a couple of those times it's worked out for her. A couple of those times she's finished second as well. So I would say I would not want to leave it to the last mile for any of these other athletes besides Lokedi.
Now, these next 3 minutes are going to be all about John Courier rushing to the finish in what we think is going to be a men's record, a course
Going under the
record
bridge.
at the Boston Marathon here. He's looking so comfortable getting to mile
coming up on mile 26.
26.
This is huge.
Here we go.
Courier had pretty much a spotless record until last fall when he had a bad one in New York. It didn't really show what he could do. Chicago, pardon, not New York. Then came back, ran a personal best of Valencia in December, showed that, sure, he was fallible, but that he could come back. And now finally back in Boston to defend his title, 2:04:45 last year. He is proving that he's in even much better fitness than that right now. And this could be a personal best outright for him, whether or not it counts, just as he takes that last right turn onto Hereford, left on Boylston soon.
You're like, did I get
Is
the
that
order
right?
correct?
No, well, it's because I asked Jess McLean, is it right on Hereford, left on Boylston? Then you're making a sign. It's like, wait, no. Right.
So
Are we going to have a
John
record
Career
here, guys?
we're definitely going to have a course record.
Absolutely.
And just by how much is this
here it
course
is.
record, he is going to get
What a
under
smile.
202. So John Career is going to win the 130th Boston Marathon in a course record time of unofficially 201.51 or 52.
Wow.
That
Over a
is
minute.
massive.
He becomes just,
Fantastic.
we'll look this up in a second, but he becomes one of very few people in history to run under 202. That's rare territory. That's top 3 or 4 in history time-wise.
I think there are now 5 who've run
And
under
in
202.
Boston.
And no one in Boston had ever
Boston.
broken 203.
Right,
Let
imagine.
alone 202.
So before we give Mr. Career his flowers and go into depth on his performance, this
This is going to be a good finish.
the battle for second place is coming down to the wire here. This is Benson Kipruto again in a sprint finish for a podium spot. He won in New York. Let's see if he can outlast Simbu here in the fun. No, Simbu takes it.
So Simbu did this last year to Cyprien Katut, finishing second and beating out Bronze by just barely a couple seconds. And this time around, he gets Kipruto. So that is a massive, massive run for Alphonse Felix Simbu, the Tanzanian who's coming from a world championship.
What was his time?
I mean, in the 202s, no.
Be close.
Okay, we're still waiting for an official
We'll
time.
get the official time from. I got here.
Let me
202
refresh.
202.47 for Simbu and 202.50 for Benson Kipruto.
So all 3 of them came in under
The course
previous
Under the
course record.
Haile Mariam Kiros
Wow.
grabs 4th.
What a year.
203.42.
Can you
and
imagine a 4th place 203 doesn't even get you on the podium this year? This is wild.
That's incredible.
We'll get back to the men's race in a second here. Let's pivot. We got to pivot to the women.
One quick thing. Zuhair Talbi, American record on Boston, 203.45.
That's an insane
To the
performance.
women.
We will break that down in detail in a second here, but let's stay on the women's race here because we're getting, I think we're starting to see the kind of the break happening here.
Making a move here.
So Lochetti is pushing the pace. She is, she's making the move.
This is the move.
Let's see who's going to go with her here. We're starting to see the athletes string out. Who do we got behind her there?
We have an A6 athlete. The angle is difficult right now to say. So Noguchi Cooper just behind, Cheptai just behind. Currently identifying our A6 athlete right next to Lochetti. She's not clear yet whatsoever. She's picked up the pace. This pack has strung out. Jess McLean currently running in 6th or 7th place. She's now about 15 to 20 seconds back of Sharon Lochetti.
I think it's Lois Jumyoung who's in second place.
That would make
there.
sense
Yeah.
because she's been in front.
She's
Lois
on the
Jemyoung.
list here in second place.
Yeah, so A6 athlete also
Let's-
on pace to go 222. So the pace is picking up.
Let's see if Lochetti continues to put on the gas here or if we'll see a lead change. I mean, she's got company, right? She's got Chumyoung and she's also got Cheptai right on her shoulder. So she's not, I don't think the surge was as devastating as she needed to make it. It's definitely shaken up this lead group here and it's down to 3 now.
Maybe she also thought that it's a bit too early because they still have a ways to go. They're at 21 miles.
5, 6. So 21 miles, 5 miles to
Yeah,
go. But
5
hey,
miles to go.
who said 35K would be the break? I did. Mercy Chalangat. So shout out to her, a Hoka athlete. We haven't talked about Team Hoka so much today. Alex Massa and Wesley Kiptu were likely the 2 to carry the torch on the men's side. On the women's side, it's Mercy Chalangat. So Hoka released their Cielo X1 3.0, their own super shoe, which has maybe the most aggressive rock forward profile in the world. I was not sure if it stood a chance at being a very, very top super shoe and if it held a candle to the other ones. Slowly, it's proving itself on world stages. So Chalangat coming in with a personal best in the low 220s and looking to have perhaps the race of her life here. She's one of the last few standing. And Jess McLean at 21 miles, 7 seconds back of that increasingly strung out lead pack.
Okay, so I mean, we're going to watch the women's race very, very closely here, and we'll jump right back into it and talk about it in detail as we see a break. But right now, it's Sharon Lokedi in the lead, and she's being shadowed very, very closely by Irene Cheptai and Lois Chemyong as well, both of Kenya as well. So 3 Kenyan athletes in the front, and we've got 2 athletes chasing behind. But clearly, based on the men's results, clearly this was a special day and a day for fast running, right? In terms of weather conditions, the wind.
Right.
I mean, you just produced an incredible course record by, a minute and change?
Yeah. Getting 3 people to come in under the course record.
Hey, Charles Hicks, 2:04:35. Yeah. It was
Wow,
a
it was a great
fast
day.
Yeah. Not to knock the man's performance, because
No,
he had to
but-
actually run the 2:04, but
hey, yeah.
it's just when you get prime conditions in Boston and you get the right first 25, you nail the first 25K, you can fly in this course. It's why it's not considered for world records, because it is a net downhill and it can be very fast if you've prepared, obviously, extraordinarily well for it specifically, and you catch these great conditions.
Wow. Hey, Clayton Young, by the way, speaking of perfect conditions
You're
and a
taking
fast
the words
day,
right out of my mouth. Go for it.
2:05:41.
Wow.
That's a
Wow.
minute and a half PR.
That's huge.
That's
huge,
amazing.
Huge for Clayton Young.
2:05:41
Wow.
for a guy who had an injury at the end of last year, an abbreviated training cycle, switched his sponsor, totally new shoe, totally new experience for him, and runs the race of his life.
Wow.
There's some skepticism around the actual quality of the Brooks Hyperion Elite Super Shoe.
Yeah.
I think this kind of quashes it, right?
We can talk. We're going to do an instant reaction podcast once these elite races wrap up, and we'll break down all of these details, and we'll push out that instant reaction podcast on our feed. So make sure you subscribe to our channels for that. But we're starting to see a bit of a further development here on the women's side. I believe it was Irene Cheptai that has fallen back slightly, and Sharon Lokedi is still driving the bus here. She's in the lead, but she's being shadowed very, very closely by Lois Chemyong.
So Lois Chemyong, a PB of 2:18 from Chicago last fall. So she's in the fitness of her life. Unclear who her sponsor is. She's wearing ASICS today, but I'm not sure if she is an official ASICS athlete. We'll dig into that a little bit more. In Chicago, she was 4th, and it was her first full marathon. So maybe, not someone that was so known in the marathon
not a
world up
huge
until
known
now.
commodity for us when we were doing our prep work. But we've got Sharon Lokedi. She's in the lead right now, but she does definitely have company. Very curious to see how Irene Cheptai responds to this. It's kind of like, it's so tough. It's like these are these make or break moments.
Yep.
And it's very, very hard to close a gap after you've been dropped at this stage in a marathon. But what do you guys think? You think Lokedi looks good? Do you think she's lining this up?
She looks strong. She looks serious. She doesn't have the John Career smile that was going on in that last chunk of the race. Well, not yet, at least. But she looks focused. She looks strong. And to be honest, I think she was holding back throughout that entire first half of the race. So she probably has a lot of kick in her to finish this race really strong.
My God, this is classic Lokedi.
Yep.
Just turning the screw more and more, inviting people to follow her. I even think right now things are getting tough for Chemyong.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a gap opening up. We're
Yep.
just over, 22 miles, and we're just over 2 hours of racing on the women's race. The men's race has already been decided. Huge, phenomenal performances across the board on the men's side. We've seen course record. We've seen American performances that I would argue are generational breakthroughs for some of these athletes, especially at this stage in their career. Big PRs.
28 men under 210.
28 guys under 210. Yeah, it used to be amazing when you get one guy under 210.
Wow.
So on the women's side, we're starting to see Sharon Lokedi go after that defending, that title which she would be defending. She's got, it's hard to tell, right? She's got maybe about 10, 12 feet gap.
Yeah, they're close.
Yeah, but it's going to be the two of them. I think Cheptai is off the back. Although now the question will be around Cheminung and can she hold on to her pace enough to not get swallowed up by Cheptai. But I don't think anyone is catching Lokedi at this point. We've seen this. We've seen this 5 different times. So Under Armour has been on 5 major marathon podiums, and every time Sharon Lokedi's been the one to put them there.
I'm telling you, they should just call it the Under Armour Lokedi. That's the name of the shoe.
Yes. Yeah.
So
She's the only one protecting this house.
And I can finally see the neon pink now that she has decided to break away.
So far, just a brand check here in Boston. The men's side, it was Asics, and then Adidas.
Yeah.
And then on the women's side so far, we've got Under Armour, Asics, maybe Nike in distant third right now. I mean, that's a
good day for ASICS so
great
far.
day for Asics. Yeah.
I don't think we saw the Pro Evo 3.
I don't think anyone was racing it.
No. So ASICS Metaspeed. So I'm still trying to figure out if the ASICS shoe is a prototype of what's coming. The prototype appears to be chunkier. It looks chunkier on people's feet. On this stream, it's just, the feet are moving quickly. It's tough to tell. But we'd be looking at the what is it? The MX the Type A and Type B. These are still prototypes, and I think the names are being workshopped. But
I would hope so.
Yeah.
MX Type A and Type B.
Sounds like 2 of Elon Musk's children. The Wi-Fi password.
Or Wi-Fi password. That's how he names his children. It's he resets the password. He just allows Google to choose the password and then thus the name of his 26th child.
He'll ask Grok, of course.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. Sorry, yes, you would never use a Google product. Okay, so we're seeing a further widening of the gap here. Sharon Lokedi is going to work, clearly determined to win her second Boston Marathon in a row. She's got I'm going to go and I'll switch to metric here. She's got about, I'd say that's 30 meters at this point. It's really opening up. It's hard to tell when you're watching the live stream because the camera kind of crushes the depth of field, but we're just about 23 miles into this race. So 3 and change miles to go. And I don't want to call a race this early because a lot can happen in 3 miles. That's just about 5 kilometers. They got a 5K to go. So we're at 37 kilometers. But Sharon Lokedi, who's a total boss and knows how to win the Boston Marathon, is in a very good spot right now leading.
Guys, I just have a quick update on Des Linden because don't we want to know where she is?
Oh, let's hear it.
Okay.
Did she start the race?
She did. So I'm
She
looking at
fired
her
the gun at
splits.
start.
Yeah, I'm looking at her splits right now. Predicted finish 2:33. We know that she's pacing her husband, right? I don't believe she's doing this right after finishing the marathon this Sav. But she's at 25K. She's at 30K right now at 150.
So let's get a little snapshot of Des Linden. Of course, she won the 2018 Boston Marathon.
Yep.
One of the marquee moments in American distance running history.
And she is sporting the number. Her bib number is 2018
that's
today
cool.
to
That's
commemorate that win.
So she retired from elite marathon running last year at the Boston when she finished the Boston Marathon last year. She's sort of veered into a potential second act of her career as an ultra trail runner.
Yep.
She ran Black Canyon 50K earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
She crewed a little bit last year at which race did she
Western
crew?
States.
Western States.
Yeah, she paced.
And so she's
Paced
ultra
a friend.
curious, and then
Yep.
she decided to throw herself into one of the most difficult stage races in the world, the Marathon des Sables, which she just finished last week.
And came in third place.
Got into a
She's
plane
a
from
beast.
Morocco, flew here. Her husband, Ryan Linden, who's a pretty damn good runner himself, was running Boston. He's wanted to run in the 2:30s, and she's like, you know what?
I'll pace you.
Honey, I'll pace you. And so she's running in the mid to low 2:30s right now.
Yep.
I think she's invincible.
She absolutely is. And then she's going to go to London next week. And that'll be one of our stories for next week.
She's going to London next week. We'll see her there.
American race.
Okay.
Jess McLean looks to be the best bid for top American right now. She's got 32 seconds over Annie Frisbee. McLean's running in running in 7th, 12 seconds behind Workanesh Edessa in 6th place. Emily Sisson currently running in 11th. She's about a minute 20 behind McLean.
Okay, that's not terrible. That's not a terrible
No, she's on
performance
pace for
her.
223.
And this is one of these moments when you're Jess McLean, Annie Frisbee, even Emily Sisson. Stay focused, stay on task, because you're going to get people coming back towards you. You're going to get a drop or two. You're going to get some fades from those that were not able to handle this ratcheting up of intensity. You can grab a place. You can go from 7th to 6th or even to 5th. So we saw that. We see this every year in Boston, but it's really worth hanging on as much as you possibly can at this stage, needless to say. And Sharon Lokedi is all alone in front at just around 24, almost 24 miles here. So we got a couple of miles to go, 23.8 miles right now on the stream. And she is all alone. She looks very confident and comfortable. She's totally dialed in. Be interesting to see what some mile splits are.
Let's pull them up here. So Sharon Lokedi, because it does look like Lois Cheminong is holding on decently well.
Yeah, there's a big sort of equal gap between Lokedi in first, Lois Chumyong,
God.
and then in third place, Irene Cheptai, equally back into third.
So, okay, for context, the women had been running at around 5:20 to 5:22 pace for the entire race. And then at mile 22, Lokedi went 4:41, 4:49, 4:35.
Yeah, so
Mile
4:35
24
is the
fastest.
dagger. Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is, like, Lokedi's one of those runners whose stride doesn't seem to change or look any different as she picks it up. So you can't quite tell that she's going faster. It almost looks like it's a war of attrition. Oh, well, now she's
Quite
throwing
literally, okay, so quite literally the gloves have come off for Lokedi. She just pulled a glove and an arm sleeve, and she's getting rid of the other one, I presume, in a second here too. So
she's slaying these last couple miles.
yeah.
You know, I'm going to have a big topic for you guys in our instant reaction pod, because I want to know, the men having these breakthrough races today.
Yeah.
Why did Sharon Lokedi not decide to go out strong from the beginning and do the same thing?
We'll put a pin in that
Yeah,
for
put
the,
a pin
for
in
the
that.
instant
That's what
reaction
we'll talk
pod,
about
but
later. So think about it.
We'll give it some thought.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a thought already, but
Yeah.
I'll save it.
Oh,
I'll
the arm
mark it.
warmers are
The
now off.
the armbands are coming off.
Yeah, Sharon Lokedi is absolutely flying.
Yeah,
here.
she is. Incredible.
But good question, Katelyn. This
Yeah.
is making me think. If you were going for time, today was a good day for time,
This
and
was
she
the
clearly
day.
has a ton of energy left.
Well, I mean, listen, you've got the course record from last year. You've got an opportunity to win the race. Are you willing to take the risk and go for a fast time again? But that requires you to put yourself at risk of not winning the race
Right.
ultimately. So
Yeah.
there's my tease for unpacking
For our later discussion.
strategy in the Instant Reaction podcast. Oh man, I cannot wait to talk about these American performances on the men's side, because they are just absolutely bananas.
Yep.
And I cannot wait to talk about John Career.
Hey, so 24 miles for Lokedi. Now on pace to break 220. So that's crazy. She was on pace to go 222 for the entire race, and then just like dropped 3 minutes off her predicted finish time in the last couple miles. Camera's panning to Jess McLean now, who also is looking quite strong going
She really
down the
is.
home stretch. She might have just passed some. Yeah, she is just past Workness Edessa, who was running in 6th. And so I think Jess McLean is now running in 6th place.
We'll get an update there on the latest splits soon enough here. But right now, from what we can tell, we've got Sharon Lokedi all alone. Second place is virtually unseen on the live broadcast right now. And then equally far back is, I believe it's still Irene Cheptai in third place. But Lokedi she had I think it was a sweatband, like a headband on.
She's pulling it all off.
That's off now too.
Holy crap.
I mean, weather's it's a sunny day, and
What is it, a balmy 6 degrees Celsius
it's
out there?
It's 8 Celsius right
8
now, so
Celsius.
it's perfect conditions. Science says 7 degrees Celsius,
But your
low
best.
humidity. You can perform at your best. So we're getting a perfect day, perfect conditions. We've seen a course record on the men's side and one of the great marathon performances in history, a 2:01 from John Career. And now we're seeing Sharon Lucchetti put on a clinic here in the
That's
second half of this
45
race.
Fahrenheit, just for our
So
listeners who do not do the metric system.
do you guys want to hear a crazy stat?
Yes.
John Corrier's average split time, 4:39 minutes per mile. That's the Boston Marathon course record, 4:39 minutes per mile. Sharon Luchetti's last mile, 4:35.
Yeah. So she's running.
She's booking
faster than the fastest man to ever run the Boston Marathon course,
That's
at least
right.
for this last mile.
Last mile. There you go. So I mean, that's her capability level, right? I guess she doesn't. We asked her on Friday if she missed Helen O'Beary not being there. If where do you summons that that compete, right? That inspiration to run a 4:35 mile late in the race. I guess she didn't need Helen.
She didn't need Helen.
no.
No. O'Beary was an accessory. But then obviously you wonder, if Helen O'Beary was in this race, would she be holding pace with this surge? Because this has been a generational surge.
I mean, I would say yes, absolutely. I mean, we've seen a few iterations of that story unfold in both Boston and New York over the last few years, and it was always Lucchetti O'Beary right down to the final mile of the race.
But I think it would have been. I think it would
have
have been a bit of a different race from the get-go if Helen O'Beary had run.
yeah.
I mean, we would have seen a completely different race.
I mean, you add the more talent you add to the elite field, the more potential there is, obviously, for there to be a more intense race from the start, right? So we're getting a lot of screen time in the broadcast on Jess McLean, who's the top American right now, and is running a very, very good performance in 6th place. Curious to see if she can catch up to 5th. We're going to get a split in a second here. We're down to the final mile and a little bit of this race at the front with Lucchetti. She just crossed over 25 miles. Race clock's at 2:13 and change. So we're looking at a solid sub 220, maybe sub 219.
right now she's on pace for 2:19.23, and Lois Cheminong is holding it together. At least she's also on pace to break 2:20 still. So
30
Luchetti's
seconds behind. That's it.
yeah.
Historically, Boston, Luchetti's 2:17 is the course record from last year, and often you don't often see sub 220s in Boston.
No.
It's tactical racing, slow starts, and obviously no pacers in Boston. So to see this is pretty impressive in the second half of this race, because it did not start out terribly fast. We were looking at a sort of a 2:22 race in the first half of this race. So obviously Lucchetti has changed the profile of this race quite a bit.
Yeah, this is a huge negative split. So we now have a split for 40K and soon 1 mile out. So McLean holding on to that 6th place now has 20 seconds on Worknesh Odessa, and Mercy Chalangat has 20 seconds on her in 5th. So we're going to have
20 seconds with 2 kilometers to go that's a lot of real estate to cover.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's going to be the 2 closest athletes are running in 3rd and 4th. So Mary Noguchi Cooper and Irene Cheptai are 4 seconds apart. So there's a fight for bronze developing.
A mile to go. You get to see, or less than a mile to go for Sharon Lucchetti, but she's got a good view of the Citco sign in the last couple of minutes.
Yep.
Well, she had a good view of the Citco sign for seemingly forever. One of the great illusions of running the Boston Marathon is everyone says the Citco sign is 1 mile to go, and it's like, yes, but you can see it for like a half an hour beforehand because it is gigantic.
And we also just got a shot of Fenway Park.
That's right.
The game is ongoing. The Red Sox play on Patriots Day. They play on the day of the Boston Marathon, and that's another special addition to the event.
Game started at 11.
Yep.
So early. Boston, yeah. I'm glad we don't have to go anywhere today because the city's going to be wild.
I have to take the green line that passes by Fenway Park to get home. So
There you go.
You live here, though. You're okay.
All right, so we're coming into the final closing minutes of the women's race here, and it's clearly Sharon Lucchetti who is going to win back-to-back Boston Marathons. Last year, she set the course record, a 2:17 performance, aided by her top rival, Helen O'Beary. Helen O'Beary not here today. That did not matter for Sharon Lokedi. She did not need Helen Newbury to run fast. We'll get an official time. Obviously, we're coming into less than a kilometer to go now. And she's looking like she's on pace for something in the neighborhood of a 2:19 low.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct for the performance?
Yeah, still on pace for 2:19.23. And Lois Cheminong also on pace to break 2:20, firmly in second place at this point. Mary Ngugi Cooper has run away from Irene Cheptai and now has 15 seconds in the bank to win
good for
bronze.
her, yeah.
McLean, I think, is pretty firm in sixth. Annie Frisbee running in eighth place. There everyone is quite separated now by 20 to 30 seconds. So I think it's going to hold. But Frisbee is looking to finish eighth, and then Sisson comfortably in 9. So we'll have at least 3 Americans in that top 9.
We now have Sharon Lokedi in the home stretch here. There's a few hundred meters left to go in the race.
She's hurting.
We'll get, she had to do a lot of this on her own, right?
Yeah.
That's and also there's one final little stinger of a section with, it's like about a kilometer to go in the race where you have to go under.
The bridge.
You have to do a little underpass.
Yep.
And then kick back out again. Yeah. And it's
that little hill is a killer at the end.
Oh,
it really is.
The going down part. It's just so brutal because your legs are so smashed up. And then you've done all this work to get through the Newton Hills. And then you haven't really hit a major downhill in quite some time. And then you're reminded of all the quad damage that's happened. So
she's on the home stretch, guys.
Yeah, it's a couple hundred meters left to go here. She's on Boylston. She is going to come in and win the 2026 Boston Marathon. We're just going to see what that time is.
There it is. She knows it.
It's a lot of hard work.
Yep.
26 miles. So Sharon Lokedi at this point, arguably the greatest woman to run Boston. She has the course record. She's now won the last 2 years. The most prominent marathoner to race in the States in the last few years, always near the front. We thought this race might not be fun without Helen O'Beary, but this is the Lokedi show. Congratulations.
The unofficially 1:18:49 is what was on the clock. That's sub 2:19.
Yep.
That's not even that far off of her course record in the grand scheme of things.
Man, this is such a negative split.
It really is.
There you go.
Wow.
Can you negative split the Boston Marathon?
I guess you can.
You sure can.
We've seen it today.
2:18:51. God, that's fast. Now I wonder if so these predictions, the tracker was off until a few minutes in. So I'm wondering if others' predicted time was off. Anyway, Lois Cheminong comes in 2:19:35 unofficially for her. That's massive.
A big performance. She's only run a couple of marathons. A6 athlete, relatively new on the scene in the grand scheme of things. She's getting a big. Lokedi's getting a big congratulations right now from John Career on the broadcast, which is super cool. They get to hang out in all of the post-race festivities together once again 2 years in a row.
Yep.
So they both get the gold. Do they do gold leaf for the laurel wreath? Is it gold
that's right.
or they do olive here in Boston? I think they have a gold one, if I'm not mistaken. So
next up is Mary Ngugi Cooper, just over 2:20, crosses the line in 2:20:07.
So what's that official time for Sharon Lokedi? What was the official? We'll see if we can get an official time here. It was under 2:19.
Right here we have 2:18:51.
2:18:51.
And I don't know how legit this is, but it looks like Jess McLean might have crossed in 4th place. Is that possible?
I see 5th here.
Well, I don't know
Let me see.
She was
refresh.
Yeah, well,
keep refreshing the feed.
She was firmly 6th not long ago.
She's
So I'm
got
wondering
I
if
see 5th, 2:20:49
There
in
you
5th
go.
place.
Wow.
Okay.
So she
That's a
did snag
big-
that 5th place.
There
You guys
go.
called
Stay
it.
focused.
Wow.
Stay focused.
There we go.
Yeah, she's on the broadcast right now. Super excited. Very, very emotional. 2:20, it's a big step for her. So that's a personal best for her as well. And top 5 in Boston.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a run for Jess McLean after that half marathon snafu where she was led off course en route to easily winning a half marathon championship. Just 2 years after being sent to the Olympics, only to not compete and watch Fiona O'Keefe hop on the course and then quickly hop off. It almost felt like she often had the short end of the stick. Meanwhile, being such a strong runner, and now finally, this is a big day for Jess McLean. Well-deserved, finishes 5th. Irene Cheptai, I think, had a rough last mile because she was comfortably in 4th, and McLean passed her, and also Mercy Chalangat passed her. Big day for the Hoka athlete, 4th place, 2:20:30 for her.
And then we've got Annie Frisbee coming in as well here. Like, what a race by
Huge.
her.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like,
8th place, I think.
you've always got to, like, there should be like a should be a secondary award for like keeping the race honest award. And I'd say that would go today to maybe like the co-captains, the co-winners of that award would be Susanna Sullivan and Annie Frisbee. Susanna Sullivan from the first half for pushing the pace and staying out front, and then Annie Frisbee in the second half for leading parts of the Boston Marathon and delivering and running a really strong race.
The comment section's going crazy for Jess McLean. Hey. And Annie Frisbee to an extent too. Yeah.
We've got
Here's
Annie
big.
Frisbee in it in 8th place with 2:22, and then Emily Sisson, 9th place, 2:22:39.
Decent
Big.
performance
Yeah,
by
rounding out
by
the
Emily
top
Sisson.
10.
Probably not what Sisson was envisioning when she came here today, but you know, he's top 10 at the Boston Marathon is still extraordinary. I've got a topic for our instant reaction podcast that we can tuck away. Who is the best American women's marathon runner right now?
Right now.
Did that?
Okay.
Okay.
We think about
Just
it.
think about it.
Yep.
Just think about it.
Yep. That's huge.
There's some finalists, but I think teaser on that. I think you got to talk about Jess McLean as being in that conversation.
Yep.
So Carrie Elwood rounding out the top 10. So Emily Sisson 9th, Elwood 10th, 2:22:53. So this is it. We're seeing like our the rest of our elite field slowly trickling into the finish. Fast year, fun year, big Americans year. John Courier putting in a career performance.
See what you did there?
Yeah, Simbu once again showing up on Boston Day. Benson Kipruto, another feather in his deepening cap. Haile Mariam Kiros running well. Zuhair Talbi
Big
setting
breakthrough
a
for him.
Boston Marathon American record. Charles Hicks, massive near debut.
So Zuhair Talbi ran faster than Ryan Hall ran 15 years ago.
By more than a minute.
That's wild.
Yeah. No super shoes though for Mr. Hall.
I know he was wearing these like little thin slippers 15 years ago.
Clayton Young, big day. Rory Linkletter, big day. A lot of storylines here. This instant reaction podcast risks being like 3 hours long.
We'll keep it a tight 45.
Yeah,
if we
I
can.
got to get my run in here.
Oh boy, that's right. We're gonna be one of the weirdest things that you can do on the afternoon after the Boston Marathon is being seen running out in Boston because like what are you doing, man?
What do you drink?
Yeah.
Yeah,
While everyone else is hobbling around
Exactly.
after their
Exactly.
run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll tuck a run in on the Charles this afternoon later on. Oh man. Okay, so we got a couple minutes. We'll take a couple more minutes here to wrap things up to process this as we see some more results coming in. What a wild day. I based on the weather, I thought, okay, probably going to get some good performances. We might even see an attempt at a course record on the men's side, but I was not expecting to see a 2:01 on the Boston course maybe ever in my life. That just happened.
Yeah.
Right?
And then of course the women's side. There's like I think the top story on the women's side, of course, is Sharon Leketty just showing that she's also in the conversation for when you top 3 women's marathon runners right now. Who's your top 3? I mean, she's in the conversation for sure.
Easily.
So I'd like to see her run a fast course. See,
Yep.
Helen Obiri did this. She's now going to be running London in 6 days.
Yep. Can't wait to see what
She's
she'll do.
clearly selected London because it is a fast course they bring the biggest, fastest field in the sport there. She's going to see if she can run a 2:15.
Right.
Love to see what Sharon Lucchetti could do. I'd love to see her run Chicago in the fall.
Yeah, maybe she'll do the same in the fall.
Yeah, we want to see a time trial
Yeah,
race out of Sharon Lucchetti.
absolutely.
Forever we have.
But
Yeah.
for now, sticking with Boston. Get into the instant reaction. We're going to pivot into our instant reaction podcast. We'll end the live stream in a couple of minutes here. So I don't want to trample over our instant reaction podcast too much here, but like, what's top 2 stories for you right now? Two takeaways. Is this like super fresh in your mind? And you get the benefit of thinking about this while
Excellent.
While Katelyn vamps here.
No, I would absolutely love to chat about, why did we just see 3 people break the course record after not being able to break it since 2011?
Yeah.
It's been a really long time coming. And I think, why haven't we seen this over the past 15 years? And why now? And also what I mentioned to you guys before, like, why did Sharon Lucchetti, because you said, Alex, at the end, you saw that she was working really hard. Now, was she suffering, or was she just suffering because she nailed down that 425 mile just because of that? Or was she suffering because from the beginning of the race, she wasn't able to push any harder? Why didn't she go for a faster run today? Even though obviously it's incredible run, but why didn't she go from the beginning out front knowing that she was going to dominate this race?
That's your why.
Those are my 2. Yeah.
Those are your 2. Okay.
My
Okay.
2, yeah.
So we'll wait for the instant reaction podcast to provide answers.
Right,
Maybe? So-
exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
You're
Just
teasing. This is
think
good.
about it. Think
Okay.
about it.
Okay. Well, yeah. Mine are.
Waving goodbye to some of our audience here.
Yes.
Yeah. So Boston, there has been stormy Boston. There's been cold Boston.
There's
Today,
been hot
Heat
Boston.
wave
Hot
Boston. I ran a heat wave year.
this was fast Boston.
Yeah.
Fast Boston, a lot of good times. That's one storyline to take away. And the other one is, I think North American distance running is in a very good place.
Yes.
And that's good for the sport.
It's amazing. On the men's side, you have all of these newish names that are right at the front. I think when we were in Chicago in the fall, we were talking to John Career, for example, and he's saying that Conor Mance is a name that East Africans know about, and they think of him as a podium threat at a World Marathon Major. I think you just added a few more names from the American
Yep.
field, from the at least on the men's side, to those podium threats on the world stage, including Zuhair Talbi, which is just phenomenal. It's so cool to see somebody have a huge breakthrough like that. For me, it's definitely like John Career running a 2:01.
Yep.
I have this ongoing power rankings system in the back end of our site about who could possibly break 2 hours in the marathon on a sanctioned course one day, and I think John Career had actually dropped down in those rankings for me. I thought really Sebastian Sawe is the best marathon runner in the world. This performance for me flipped that script potentially a little bit. We'll talk about that in the Instant Reaction podcast in a second.
Okay.
here.
Cool.
It's like because the top 3 in the world are John Career, Sebastian Sawe, Jacob Kapilimo. How do you power rank those 3 guys right now? I want to hear what you both think about where they slot in the top 3 right now. And if there's anybody else that's looming, because there's been a crazy slew of performances here as well. So I guess we'll close things out here. We should say that we are going to pivot into our Instant Reaction podcast. Before we close things out, we want to shout out our partner today in the live watch along, Wahoo, with the kicker run. It's we call it this up there with the super. It's the super shoe of treadmills.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
We put it up there as in terms of like technological innovation. Really, one of the 3 or 4 things that's happened in the last few years in running that I think is truly interesting from an innovation and technology standpoint. The thing can run a 4-minute. If you can run a 4-minute mile, you can run a 4-minute mile on it, no problem. It doesn't even flinch. So
Yeah. Big reason as to why we stayed fit across the winter.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Especially this winter.
In the Canadian winter.
Yes. All right. I think we'll wrap the live stream here. We're going to pivot into our Instant Reaction podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll push the Instant Reaction podcast out as soon as we're done recording it. And also follow the newsletter. You can go to marathonhandbook.com/newsletter, and we sent out, our colleagues sent out a bunch of like breaking news e-blasts.
Yep.
Basically the second Locketti career across the finish line that went into our subscribers' news inbox. And follow us on, of course, social media channels and the podcast as well.
Yeah. And
Thanks
we'll
for
be back
tuning in.
like in 10 minutes.
And then we'll be and then we'll
be
roll
right
right
back.
back into this in a few minutes here. Thanks so much for following along with us. This was super fun. And we should note, London, 6 days from now.
Oh my God.
We will be there.
So I get I don't know about you guys. I get 18 hours in my own bed, in my own house. I'm going to probably take the
I
full
don't go
18 hours.
home.
You don't go home.
I don't go home. I stay here and then go to London.
So we're going to be in London. We're going to be in London as of, I think, Thursday
Get in
local
Thursday.
time. Thursday morning. We'll be covering London very much like we just did Boston. The three of us and our colleague, our news editor, Jessie Carveth, she'll be there as well. So the four of us will be on the ground. We're going to do a preview podcast. We're going to do an instant reaction podcast. And we're also going to do a live watch along just like this one in London at the Knees Up venue, which is a running space in the city, which is amazing. They're going to be facilitating it for us, hosting us. There'll be some snacks as well. So come check us out there. We'll put the information on our site. And you can watch along if you want to watch along just like you did today. In London, we'll be doing the exact same thing. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for that. And we'll be pushing that out there as well. All right, guys, we did our talking marathon.
We did it.
Time to eat a food.
Time to eat breakfast.
Time to see if my legs work.
Yeah. Nervous. Michael didn't use the bathroom once. Good for you. You should
like
try
a
that
camel.
100-mile run like Ashley Paulson next time.
Yeah, sure.
You have
Why
one
not?
part of it down.
Yeah. just the running part that I have to do. All right. Until 6 days from now in London.